Friday, and there's football. I shall call it Football Friday.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for all things football. The Fan. If athleisure was a radio show, this would be that radio show. Bo Bishop, a man of fine taste and Montana class.
My wife will try and drag me to like an Easter brunch buffet, and I don't even like that because I don't like everybody standing over food I'm going to eat.
Friends with the highest intellectuals.
We found out the hard way. We have white furniture. That's all I'll say.
What a mess.
Oh, God. Holy
Literally. An athlete, coach, husband, and father.
That drives me nuts. My kids are, I'm him. Shut up. Kidding me? You're 9. You're not him. I don't even know what the hell that means.
And two guys who are considerable downgrades from a former football player.
You were saying the Olympics wasn't interesting you yesterday. Well, can I offer you 50 seconds of interest?
50 seconds of interest is a similar pitch I make to my girlfriend on a nightly basis.
You're listening to Bishop and Friend.
Doug Lesmerises, 11:33. James Crepea on the Oregon side of things coming up at 11:20. We will, of course, attempt to beat the house at 11 o'clock. We will get to that as well. We also will take a look at this matchup as only we can over the course of the next 3 hours. I want to take you back to September 11th, 2001. It was a gorgeous day here at the Shoe. A running back named C.J. Vardell could not be tackled. Simply could not be tackled. That afternoon, he carried it 20 times for 161 yards in the Shoe and 3 scores. Oregon ran it 38 for 269. It was 7.1 per carry. That next Monday, there was a Ryan Day, or the Tuesday, there was a Ryan Day availability, and there's a different tone in Coach Day's voice. He knew that something was wrong. He knew that something had to change defensively because it felt like they were running the same play over and over and over again, and you could not stop them on the ground. You, Ohio State, were bullied by Oregon, and a narrative began to take shape. And here's the funny thing about narratives. That Oregon win, it ends up in the books 35-28 here at the Shoe in that September day in 2021. That narrative was all of a sudden that Ohio State wasn't tough enough, that they could not withstand a team who would just run it right at them. That narrative continued and became kind of who you were as a football team in 21 at the end. We know what happened in the game. In 22, certainly, we know what happened in the game. And even in 23 to a lesser extent. But much of what Ryan Day did after started this second generation of Buckeye football, this Ryan Day version of Buckeye football. Because remember, he's coming in with Urban's infrastructure guys, and he's just jumping on a treadmill, and he's sprinting. You're a couple of plays from winning a national championship, or at least playing for one in 19. You play for one in 2020. There were no chinks in the armor. All of a sudden, on September 11, 2021, there became a chink in the armor, and it manifested probably most especially at the end of last season with the loss in the Cotton Bowl. And so at that point, as we like to say, Ohio State decided, you know what, enough. We're taking the other arm out from behind our back, and we are going to start to fight with both fists forward. Saturday night in Eugene is your first chance to see how successful punching with 2 fists is for Ohio State. This is the first test. It's the first test of this season. There will be more to follow. The first test, though, will be Saturday night. And my hunch is what you're going to see out of this Buckeye team is everything that Oregon did to you that fall Saturday back in September. My hunch is that you are going to see a group that is going to run it right at Oregon, that is going to batter Oregon, that is going to be tougher. I would not be surprised at all if what Ohio State attempts to do on Saturday night is what Oregon did here all of those many years ago. This is a critical game for Dan Lanning. Critical. We've gone over it. He does not have a signature win. He doesn't. They're not spending the type of money that they're spending on the roster. They're not spending the type of money that they're spending on him. They're not keeping him from Alabama to beat Oregon State and to beat Utah and lose to Washington every time you play him. He is searching for a win like this. This is the one that he can decide we are now, or he can prove, rather, we are now a serious program. Is the winner made in the sense of, go play for a national title? No, they're not. It's early on. We have a 12-game playoff now, 12-team playoff now. Is the loser cooked? No, they're not cooked. Heck, it's very possible that this could be the first of 2 meetings between these 2 teams this year. Hell, they could play 3 times. They could play 3 times. Welcome to college football in 2024. But a lot about who these 2 teams are will be known by around 11 o'clock on Saturday night. And the thing that I think will be most proven is that this Ohio State team, in the 3+ years since Oregon came in here and pushed you around, has gotten tougher, has gotten more physical, and has changed its identity on both sides of the ball to one that now squares up with 2 fists forward and punches you in the mouth. That's my hunch of what you're going to see on Saturday night. You are going to see the physicality of the Buckeyes. You are going to see, we are going to run it. We dare you to stop it. That's my hunch of what you see. This is a long time coming, guys. This goes all the way back to 2021. And you could make the argument, Reese, that loss in 21 started a downward trajectory, at least from the standards around here, about what Ohio State football was. It absolutely created a narrative that the Buckeyes weren't tough enough, one that was manifested in the Michigan games the next 2 years.
Yeah, the silver bullet moniker was stripped from those Ohio State defenses. Yep. And it's been something that OSU's worked to try to reinstill in its defensive front. And this feels like your first chance to prove to the nation, because this has Ohio State-Texas vibes. This has Ohio State-USC vibes. Yeah. You're going to a cathedral of the sport in Autzen. You're going on at a primetime game. It's October. This is the football month. And you're going to, on a national stage, show, whichever it is, Ohio State, Oregon, that you're in the pole position for a national championship. I know Texas and Oklahoma go a little earlier in the day, and then you've got UT Georgia next week. But this is one of those that really shapes how the college football playoff starts in terms of seeding, and then everybody else kind of forms in line behind the winner.
Yeah, it's a tone setter. It's a tone setter. And Oregon has been tested. They've been tested. They were tested in the opener. They played Idaho in the opener. They won 24-14, but it's a 1-score game after a trick play from Idaho to make it 14-17. So that's late in the game when that's the case. Boise State, they beat 37-34. Genty ran for 192 and 3 scores in that game. So defensively, they've been tested. Then their most impressive win is the Oregon State game. The next week, they battered Oregon State 49-14. Then it's UCLA 34-13, and then Michigan State 31-10. They have gotten better as the season gone along. They are crisper on offense. There's some stats in here as we get into the breakdown, our offense versus their defense and vice versa, that are alarming from their side of things in terms of their inability in the red zone to put points on the board. It's real. It's a real problem for them. And it's one of those things where they're getting better at it, but it's still there. There's still a little bit of a red flag. Conversely, for Ohio State, we've lamented it for much of the first month of the season. It's just the worst damn way we've ever had to start a year. There just hasn't been much from an interest standpoint. The non-conference schedule was absolute trash. We knew it a year ago. We knew that it would be trash. It was trash. You get this odd bye week that's in the first month of the season that nobody wants. And then Michigan State and Iowa, you can't help that. Those are 2 Big Ten teams, but you took care of business in both. So this is your first time where you can kind of see what you're made of. I love that this game is on the road. I love it. I love that this test is. I love that the first major test is going to be on the road. I think it fits everything that you want. I think there's this sense of we have seen a certain portion of what this Buckeye football team can be, and we will see the full Buckeyes Saturday night, Reese.
Yeah, this is what you hope to be your fully armed and operational battle station. For both schools, for both teams, like this represents did we get it right going into the portal? Did we get it right recruiting? Yeah. Did we get it right with tweaks that have been made either to personnel or to the coaching staff? It's an incredible coincidence that Chip Kelly will be in the booth for Ohio State against the program that he helped build. Like the architect of the Oregon program, Chip Kelly is one of them. Despite what he says yesterday, like he is just as much Oregon as Mike Bellotti, as any of the other guys that have come before him. And similarly for Ohio State, why you got Will Howard, why you went and got Quinshawn Judkins, why you went and got Caleb Downs. For the Ducks, why you went and got Dylan Gabriel, because you needed a quarterback that could go in big game situations. Not saying Bo Nix wasn't the guy, but he is no longer there. So you didn't have anybody.
But he lost the games, Reese.
He lost those 2 games. So maybe for Dan Lanning, this is the quarterback that can get you over those humps. And I'll say for Ohio State, maybe the tests haven't been the toughest, but they've acted as accordingly as you would have liked them to going into what now, week 7?
They have. Yeah. All you can do is tackle what's in front of you.
And they've done
it. They've done it. They've acted accordingly. They've covered, I think, 3 out of 5. They've handled their business. This is a different type of business. This is a different type of opponent. I think there are advantages that Ohio State has over Oregon that are significant. I think there are several paths for the Buckeyes to victory. I feel very good, kids, on a Friday night about how this thing is going to feel on Saturday night. I do not think the same about Oregon. I think there are maybe one path for the Ducks to win against this Buckeye team, because I think this Buckeye team is that damn good, and I think they're going to prove it on Saturday night. Lots to get to on this one. We will go over all of the matchups, go behind enemy lines. That's coming up at 11:20. It is a monster weekend, as Reese mentioned, a monster weekend in college football. We'll get you set for all of that. We have other sports happening as well. We had a Jackets opener last night. We had the Guardians with pinch hit 3-run home runs to stay alive. We had NFL football. We have must wins for the Bengals and the Browns. Good Lord Almighty, let's get going. We're off and running. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic.
Oh, yes.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
In his campaign ads, Sherrod Brown thinks everything's pretty funny. But it's not when you look at his voting record. Brown voted to allow transgender biological males to compete in girls' sports. Unfair and dangerous. Brown introduced a bill letting transgender biological men into girls' locker rooms and girls' bathrooms. That's just not right. And Brown supported allowing puberty blockers and sex change surgery for children. Migrants are flooding into Ohio, but Brown voted for government handouts to illegal immigrants and voted 10 times to protect sanctuary cities that release dangerous illegal immigrant criminals onto Ohio's streets. Sorry, Sherrod, your seriously bad votes are no joke. And Ohio doesn't think it's funny. Sherrod Brown has let us down. He's way too liberal for Ohio. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
At Byers Auto, we've been football fans since 1897, back when tailgates had actual tails. Our legacy of supporting our local team is as strong as our commitment to providing exceptional vehicles. While we're known for our new cars, we also offer a variety of pre-owned vehicles that meet our rigorous standards. Our friendly staff is here to help you find the perfect vehicle for your lifestyle and budget. Visit us in person or shop online at byersauto.com. Come see why it's better to buy at Byers.
Bo Bishop here for my friends at Diamond Cellar. Ready to pop the question but don't know where to start? Visit Diamond Cellar's After Hours on October 17th for a night out with a DJ, drinks, and exclusive discounts on engagement rings, and a chance to win OSU or CBJ tickets. Diamond Cellar's After Hours event, October 17th on Sawmill Road.
Bring the thrill of the stadium to your wallet with the Love My Crew checking account from Pathways, the only checking account that rewards you for being a Crew fan. Pathways Financial Credit Union, your true financial partner. Federally insured by NCUA.
Join Skip Mossick, Paul Keels, and Jim Lachey for 2 whole hours of Scarlet and Gray goodness.
Thank you, football God.
Buckeye Roundtable, Monday night at 6.
Presented by Burger King.
Your flagship home for Ohio State athletics. The Fan. Get Eco.
ECO.
Hey, Jerry, I think I invented something.
Does it solve a problem?
It solves a big problem.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Heating and cooling companies are telling people your furnace and AC isn't worth fixing. You need to replace it with a whole new system.
You invented a solution for that?
I invented a way to fix those systems for free.
Get Eco.
ECO.
That's a great invention. How does it work?
Step 1 is to pay Eco to fix it.
I thought you said you'd fix it for free.
Step 2 is that we give you back all the money that you paid us, up to $1,500 when you get Eco to replace it.
Get Eco.
ECO.
What if your repair keeps my system running for several more years?
That would mean you got all those extra years for free.
Paying Eco to fix your furnace is like putting money in the bank.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
Get Eco.com.
Listen to Sherrod Brown. When he wanted your vote.
On major issues, I'll stand up to the president of my own party.
But Sherrod Brown doesn't stand up to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. He votes with them 97% of the time. Brown supported Biden and Harris on radical issues like amnesty for 11 million illegal immigrants. Brown voted to give nearly $1 billion in COVID stimulus checks to convicted criminals in prison, even the Boston Marathon bomber. And Brown voted to give taxpayer-funded health care to illegals who get amnesty and Social Security benefits, too. So the next time Sherrod Brown tells you,
I'll stand up to the president of my own party.
Ignore it, because 31 years in Washington has changed Sherrod Brown. He's not for us anymore, and he's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.americancrossroads.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Good morning. It is cold out there right now. Temperatures are in the 30s area wide. We do warm up, though, heading into your Friday afternoon. 73 later today. Lots of sunshine. Tonight, clear with a low around 50. Heading into tomorrow, it'll be 77 under partly cloudy skies. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecasts on 97.1 The Fan.
An ex-jock and a very puffy, smooth-faced man. These are the first voices you should hear. Morning Juice. Your wake-up service.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan. We'll read your emails on the air, but we won't tell you where to send them. Hey, we're not doing all the work for you. This is Bishop and Friends.
And join us for an unforgettable evening. It's Tuesday, November 12th, Highbank Distillery in Grandview. Thrilled to invite you to the Reese for exclusive fan barrel picks. I was in on these. You're going to love them. 3 different varieties, incredible whiskeys as only that they can do it. The proceeds benefit Brady Quinn's Third and Goal Foundation, making a difference in the lives of veterans. Enjoy exclusive barrel picks, delicious food pairings, live music, a meet and greet with select athletes. For tickets and more information, head to 971thefan.com. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. The Jackets lose the opener 3-2 in Minnesota. I think, honestly, this is kind of like a little bit of a microcosm of what you're going to get this season. I think you're going to have some moments, and you had Kent Johnson get a goal, was active, was direct, as Jody was saying on the broadcast, in terms of the way that he played. So you got some flashes of a young guy kind of looking good, but in the end, you have some deficiencies that are going to be very, very difficult to overcome. The Jackets did get some bad news before the puck even dropped, that Captain Boone Jenner, Don Waddell saying Boone Jenner would, they're hopeful that he would be back for March for the outside game. So that's kind of where they are, and that's some very bad news on that side of things. In terms of the way that the team went about their business and the way that they played, here is your new head coach, Dean Evison, on how the team went about their business.
You know, we didn't get the result, which we're not happy with, obviously, but we got the effort, we got the work, we got the visual of how we want to play, the reinforcement of how we want to play. You know, we didn't score a couple more goals, and we made a couple mistakes, obviously, for a couple goals, which happened, but yeah, we liked how hard our group played tonight.
There was an opportunity to go up 2-1. James Van Riensdijk was called for goalie interference. Here's Evison on that call.
It certainly could have went either way. You know, we're not going to argue it, obviously. That's not it was so close, and we've seen both ways. So that was a break that went against us. But what we liked about the group is that we didn't sag after that. It wasn't like, you know, oh my God, what's going on or what happened. We just continued to play, and you know, was proud of the group after that moment.
The key, I think, fellas, for Jacket fans this year, all season long, this will kind of be the thing. Like, are you good with what you saw last night, where you have flashes of youth that are brilliant, but just an overall talent disparity that makes winning on a nightly basis very, very difficult. Both you guys are local dudes. You've had to deal with this for a long time with this operation, Reese.
Yeah, it's funny. So the Blue Jackets and the Wild were expansion teams in the same year. Of their 46 combined seasons, they've won just 5 playoff series, 4 by the Wild, and then the one by the Blue Jackets, if you remember when they beat the Lightning way back.
Isn't that the damnedest thing? That's really the damnest thing.
Last night was best case.
I mean, it's crazy that they came in at the same time. I mean, Vegas comes in, they won a cup.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Seattle comes in, they're great right away. Like, these two operations really struggled, and you know what it means there. You know, it meant that there as soon as they got the team. They knew exactly what they were getting, the state of hockey. Meantime, here, it's become that over 2+ decades, and there just hasn't been the success for either one of them. So I didn't realize that Minnesota had such a little amount of success through that time as well. Just 4 playoff wins for them?
Yeah, four series. And I think Everson had 2 of them, I want to say.
Yeah.
So, like, last night was, I think, best case scenario for the Blue Jackets in a loss. Like, JVR's disallowed goal, I thought was BS because I don't think he touched it. He nudged the goalie, but it was with his leg because they were both on their stomachs.
I thought it was all the way through, too, by the time he was there. I thought that
it was away from where the actual puck action was. Now, not far away because the goal space isn't very large.
Yeah.
But for Kent Johnson, who was a healthy scratch in Game 1 last year, I think this was as good of a start as you could have asked for. I was okay. I was fine with what I saw from Elvis. I think he didn't get. This was fine.
Yeah,
that's all I can really say about a team I don't have a ton of expectations for, other than to be competitive in games like this and to fight for 3 periods. And I got that last night.
Yeah, and when you're the last team in the Eastern Conference back-to-back years, standards have to be low. They just have to. And so you generated a lot of opportunities. Obviously, fans would have liked more of them to have gone in. I think you hit the post at least 3 times that I saw. Maybe I even missed some. So, a competitive game. Maybe if you don't get a no-look wrist shot from God in the first period that guy hit, which I didn't even realize that was no-look until they slow-mode the replay. That was unbelievable. You know what? You looked competitive for 60 minutes. That's more than you can say about this team the past couple of years.
Yeah, I think it's kind of I know. I really think this is what this season's going to be like. I think you're just going to have moments, and guess what? I'm cool with it. If you give me big Fantilli moments, big Kent Johnson moments, big Sillinger moments, big young guys, even in losses, I'm good. I thought Mears, by the way, was great on the call. I thought he was great. It was very different than the way that Rims did it, and it's going to take some getting used to, but much more conversational style of play-by-play versus Rims, who was more of a traditional, here's what's happening here, and here's what's happening here, and here's what's happening here. Mearsy is much more of he's painting a big picture and trusting that you're seeing what's happening on the ice as it's happening. It was jarring at first, but I thought he did a hell of a job.
Yeah, he was tremendous last night, but it was jarring every time they came back from commercial. Because I had it on my second screen, obviously, with what the Guardians were doing late against the Tigers. But every time they came back from break, I expected Rims.
Yeah.
And I expected the Blue Jackets hockey. And I got more of what, are we going to call him Mearsy? More of what Mearsy
Hockey
had on the broadcast.
People just put Y's on the end of anything. They just put Y's. Everybody's a Y.
So it was still for me the entire time. I was like, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, that's right. And I think that'll keep going. Like Saturday night, the game will be like on, but kind of in the background, obviously, because Ohio State, Oregon. And I'll be like, oh, wait. And I think that'll go for at least a month before I'm over the fact that Jeff Rimmer's not on these broadcasts anymore. And again, Mears was terrific last night. But just him. The entire time the Jackets have been around, it's been Jeff Rimmer.
Yeah, no, it's a couple of times, and I mean this is the highest form of compliment. I'm like, oh, the Jackets are on national TV tonight. Like, that's what it felt like because of his style was so different. We're just so accustomed to Rims, who's obviously a legend. So the good news is you still get name dropping with Rims on every Wednesday with Man and Bone. So you have that to look forward to, which is nice. But I thought they were great. All right, you get a pinch hit 3-run homer race. You got some time on your baseball.
Yeah,
they're going 808 head to head.
It'll be a very tough assignment for fans of the Guardians and the Buckeyes on Saturday. Because you do get Max. So if you have HBO, you can watch Game 5 of the ALDS, which is what I've been doing, which has been very, very nice.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they're doing it on the Max.
They're not on TNT?
They are, but I think you get you get the TNT broadcast on Max.
Oh, okay. So you can watch it there, too, if you need.
It's all a Turner
so then if you want to pop into
broadcast.
Commando, you can do that, too, because I'm sure that's streaming on there.
Gosh, they've got to have Arnold's entire catalog on that thing.
The whole catalog.
But, yeah, they do. And I avoid Bob Costas, which I am thrilled.
Holy God.
I don't get postseason Costas. He's not great. Like, I know he knows one team. He knows the Yankees. He knows national teams. Like, I'm sure he'd kill it on a Dodgers broadcast. He'd kill it on a Yankees broadcast. And the history of those organizations. If you want to talk to him about the Royals and the Guardians, he doesn't know anything.
he is in the middle of the Ken Burns doc on baseball every time he calls a game. And he's an icon. He is.
He is.
But he wants to tell stories of history every time he calls a game. And if I were a Royals fan, I watched a little of it last night, I'd be like, man, what are we doing here, man? I mean,
but I am excited for Game 5.
And it's brutal, too, because Ron Darling is a really good color analyst, and he can't get a word in.
No, it's just story time.
He disappears.
Yeah, it's just story time. So it'll be Scooble, who's likely to win the Cy Young in Cleveland as the Guards and Tigers go. That's 8:08 on Saturday night. So Saturday night is going to be a television behemoth, to say the least. A big reason for that is the game we've all been waiting for, number 2 versus number 3. You'll hear from the two head coaches. They have much to gain, especially the one on the opposing sideline. We will get to all of that coming up next and set the table for an incredible weekend in college football. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Are you tired of large point spreads and lackluster matchups? Us too. Good news. It's Oregon week. More good news. You picked the right radio station. The Fan.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Save more with digital coupons. California red, white, or black seedless grapes are just 99 cents a pound with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Tire Discounters announces our latest breakthrough, TD Chat BS. This software allows us to detect untruths, deceptions, and even outright lies. Let's listen in as we call a local car dealer.
Hi, I drive your model of auto or truck. I need servicing.
Oh, that's great. You should always call the dealer for service to make sure your warranty stays intact.
Untruth.
Excuse me?
I can attend at Tire Discounters for all services, even for all manufacturers' scheduled maintenance. Warranty not affected.
But it's only us dealers who really know our own models.
Deception. Tire Discounters technicians are certified experts for all makes and models.
Okay, maybe.
How many dollars do you charge me for? As few as Tire Discounters?
We are not that much more.
Outright lie. Ending call now. Bye. Adios. Aloha. Hasta la pasta.
Right now, save up to $250 on Cooper tires, and shocks and struts are buy 3, get 1 free.
Hi, Bob and Teresa Capace here for Worthington Jewelers.
Join us for our semi-annual bridal sale.
Featuring our BOGO, buy one, get one 50% off on engagement rings, wedding bands, or wedding sets. Worthington Jewelers, where Columbus gets engaged.
All right. Protect yourself, Ohio. Get your shots for COVID and flu today. A message from the Ohio Departments of Health and Aging.
Friday nights mean high school football. Join us for the Fan's high school game of the week.
This week, Upper Arlington at Olentangy Orange.
Live coverage starts Friday night at 6:30. Your home for Friday Night Lights. The Fan.
It's Rocktober, baby!
It's Rocktober at Lindsay Honda.
Save with 1.9% financing up to 60 months on every new Lindsay Honda, combined with the Lindsay Difference Package. A value of $1,295 included with every vehicle purchase. We're about going the extra mile to provide you with these unique benefits. Turn up the noise with Lindsay Honda.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference.
With approved credit on select in-stock 24-25 Honda models. Dealer contribution may affect consumer cost.
I'll be honest, I'm really worried about my kids and grandkids. I never thought we'd be facing a national abortion ban in this country.
That's Kim. She lives in Cincinnati and is a grandma to 6.
If something happened to my family, I'd want them to have all the help they need. But with a national ban, they'll have nowhere to turn.
Bernie Moreno supports a national abortion ban, and he has said he is 100% against abortion with no exceptions. And if Moreno's in the Senate, he could be the deciding vote to pass a national abortion ban.
Last year, we voted to protect abortion in Ohio. Now, Bernie Moreno wants to get rid of that completely. It's simple. I don't trust Bernie Moreno to do what's right for my family. He should never be Ohio's senator.
Your Community PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, paid for by Your Community PAC, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Learn more at yourcommunitypac.org.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BUY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 2 restaurant locations in Grandview and Gahanna. Drink local, drink High Bank.
Well, what's up is the Bucks and the Ducks. It's Saturday night in Eugene. It's the one we've been waiting for. The Buckeye schedule to this point has been quite tepid. This will be a big-time test. Obviously, there's been struggles against ranked teams in recent years for Coach Day, struggles against teams ranked in the top 5. He is in need of a win as well. I think it would do a great deal of boost for this program. You're 50 days before you play that team up north, so this would kind of bookend kind of nicely between this one and that one if you could get them both. And, of course, that is the expectation around here. One of the things that he's been able to do this season so far with Ohio State is he's been able to balance all of the mouths he has to feed and keep a lot of people happy while winning. The reason he's been able to do that to this point is culture. Culture is easier when you are winning. They've won so far. That's been a pretty easy task to be able to continue to have that selflessness. It will have to continue Saturday in Eugene. Here's Coach Day on the culture of the program and the dirty work that'll have to be done Saturday night.
When you bring in a recruit at running back, first thing you show them isn't pass protection out here in the lobby, right? You don't show a highlight of that, but as you start to learn to become a complete player, whether it's at receiver or running back, that's important. What Emeka's doing and our receivers have been doing on the perimeter is it's winning football. And it's just amazing how, you make a block and protection, the next thing you get an explosive run, or Emeka blocks for Jeremiah, scores a reverse in the Michigan State game, and then he gets the next 4th down conversion. They just seem to happen that way when you're playing good football, team football. But you have to be a team player. You have to understand how you fit in. And it's usually the dirty work. You have to make sacrifices. You have to be willing to sacrifice your body, sacrifice everything you have for your teammates. And that's winning football. That's about culture. And if everybody's bought in and doing those things and playing really, really hard, we're going to play winning football. And everyone's going to get their opportunity and get, their statistics and things like that. And I think that's important, and it's shown just by the 2 running backs and their approach to this thing. They're the biggest advocates of each other as we go, and we're going to need those guys now for 4 quarters because they really both haven't played for 4 quarters. We're going to need them for 4 quarters in this one.
That last part's pretty interesting, right? We haven't needed them both for 4 quarters. We're going to need them both in this one. That gives you a little window, and I think the plan will be for the Buckeyes, which will be a ground attack, the likes of which you haven't probably seen around here for a very long time. Both of those guys going downhill. On the other side of it is Dan Lanning, and as we've talked about for much of the week, he needs one of these. He hasn't had one of these since he's been the head coach at Oregon. There's not a bowl game that he can cling to. He's won his rivalry games, but he's lost to Washington every time he's played them. He's beaten Utah. He certainly doesn't have a win anywhere on the resume in the vicinity of what this one would mean to him and his program if they are indeed trying to be a serious one. Here is Lanning on the excitement to play the Buckeyes.
We are certainly excited for this opportunity, getting to play a great opponent this week. Strong in all 3 phases. As a team, when you watch them, you really don't see a weakness. They're really strong across the board, and this will be a great challenge for us. And I know our fans will be great again this weekend. So that'll make that a fun atmosphere for us.
Reese mentioned this earlier, the kind of Chip Kelly's run at Oregon, and while Bellotti and even Rich Brooks were there longer, and the beginning of the respectability, and Bellotti with the partnership with Nike kind of took it with the uniforms to another level. What Chip did, and this is as important as all of that, was Chip made Oregon cool from a style of play standpoint. He's the one that brought the tempo. He's the one that brought the scoring. He's the one that brought the recruiting. In fact, his time at Oregon, despite the fact that they lost a national championship game, it was his team that they played in, that the Buckeyes played in 2014, coached by Mark Helfrich, but it was all of the guys he recruited, all the guys he developed, his handpicked quarterback, all of those guys. That run is what Dan Lanning is trying to get back to. Here is Lanning on Chip Kelly and the impact he had at Oregon, and welcome him back.
Well, I think he's always done a great job of utilizing his personnel, moving guys around and allowing them to do things that they do really, really well. He always finds unique ways to run the ball. I think that's, one thing that he probably doesn't get enough credit for is his ability to run the ball, regardless of the situation. And he's at UCLA last year. They were the #1 rushing team in our conference, for a lot of reasons. And it's because of his ability to run the ball. But he does a great job utilizing personnel, keeping on your toes, changing the tempos, creating unique formations that you've never seen on film before. So you always have to prepare for something you haven't, really prepared for.
I said earlier, fellas, I do not believe this to be a must-win for either team. There's still a lot of season left. Quite honestly, I think it's probably likely that they see each other again in the Big Ten championship game, depending on what happens with Penn State over the next couple of months. But it certainly feels like that's very much in play. I think both of these teams are playoff teams, regardless of what happens Saturday night. When you look around the rest of the college football landscape this weekend, though, there are some elimination games that are out there. This is one of 4 ranked versus ranked. And I understand USC isn't ranked, but they're on the cusp of it. And I think most people would contend that they are a top 25-ish team, even though they're not officially ranked. You've got the Red River Shootout, Texas and Oklahoma. Obviously an elimination game for Oklahoma if they lose again and pick up their second loss by the second weekend in October. I don't take Oklahoma seriously anyway, though. Go ahead, Reese.
I don't know if you guys have seen, and if you get a chance today, go look at the injury reports for the Red River. Can't call it a shootout. For Texas, it's running back. For Oklahoma, it's wide receiver. It's an incredible thing. If you look from Texas's standpoint, lost a bunch of running backs, but that was earlier in the season. Oklahoma's been down a couple, like a wide receiver each week, it feels like, for the Sooners, who I agree aren't a serious team. And I think where Tennessee played it easy on Oklahoma, Texas is looking for revenge, and I think they crush the Sooners tomorrow.
I think Oklahoma is actually down their top 5 receivers against Auburn a couple weeks ago.
And they were already one-dimensional when they made the change at quarterback. So, yeah, that doesn't...
You got a true freshman playing the Red River?
Yeah, that doesn't seem... No. Again, this one isn't officially ranked versus ranked, but it's Penn State ranked number 4 in the country under James Franklin, going to USC. Can they handle success? They are just 3.5-point favorites against a USC team that lost to Minnesota, that's already been beaten by Michigan as well. Already 2 losses for Lincoln Riley this year at USC. So a big one, I think, more for Penn State. I think we already know USC is not a serious team this year. Tennessee is hosting Florida. I think they'll be just fine, but obviously a second conference loss for them would be the end of it. And then I think a true elimination game is Saturday night down in Baton Rouge, where number 9 Ole Miss takes on number 13 LSU. I don't think you can lose that and continue to act like you're a serious team with playoff hopes. I think one of those teams is eliminated Saturday night.
Yeah, I do appreciate how the expanded college football playoff makes a loss by Ole Miss to Kentucky not an elimination game for the Rebs, but I absolutely think this one becomes that. Because then
don't they still have to play Georgia?
Ole Miss still has a tough row to hoe, and I'm not sure about LSU's schedule on this one, but they've already taken one, and you start to go with the argument we've been saying for months that the SEC will say our 9-3 is better than your 11-1 or your 10-2. How many 9-3s are you going to be arguing for if you're Greg Sankey? And so this feels to be you've only got maybe one that you can argue.
Got one. That. You can do that once, fellas. One damn time. We will very generously, at best, put up with one of those. But he can't come there and argue for 2 or 3. You can have one 9-3. You're not having multiple. And I'm going to tell you what, if you're going to get a 9-3, it better be Georgia. It better be somebody who has played that type of schedule. It can't be Ole Miss. I don't think I'd have to look at LSU.
I forgot they lost to USC.
Yeah.
And so when you've seen the Trojans fall off a cliff, and now you're seeing with LSU, who has Texas A&M and Alabama, and what I'm looking at is Texas A&M bye, then Alabama is a 3-week stretch for LSU.
I'm curious about LSU for that Texas A&M angle that we kind of hatched last week, where their schedule is super easy, and LSU They have LSU and Georgia, but they don't have any conference losses. So you think if they beat LSU, then A&M could be an SEC title team, possibly. And that, as I'm saying this out loud, that helps my Notre Dame angle. So this is all working in a bunch of different directions. I think Tennessee, though, talking about that game against Florida, I think they're going to play 4 quarters of FU football against Florida. I think that is going to be...
They hate each other.
They hate each other. And actually, you would know way better than I would.
They hate
because you being down there.
Here's the other thing,
a great
Cole.
rivalry, and they just lost.
You're right. And here's the other thing. Florida, for years, with Spurrier and Urban, would bury them if they could. Like I'm saying, if it's 35-0 in the fourth, ones are still out there. So, and they did that same stuff to Georgia. So when you see Kirby put it on them, that's what that's about. It's about Urban and Spurrier putting it on Gators putting on Dogs for a long time, and they did the same thing with Tennessee. They did the exact same thing. On the A&M front, you guys brought that up. Yeah, it's pretty navigable for them. They're at Mississippi State, at South Carolina, New Mexico State, Auburn, and Texas. That's all they have left. It is very likely that A&M is that 9-3 team we're talking about. It's hard to find more losses for them, honestly. They get LSU at home and then Texas at the end of the year. So even if they lose that one, it's certainly one that they can navigate. But a huge weekend in college football across the board. None bigger than our game, number 2 versus number 3. When the Buckeyes have the ball, what do we expect to see? Ground and pound. Lots of it. We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
A lot has changed in 30 years, but we're still that old shoe that feels worn in and well-loved. And well, we smell a little, but you've accepted that. The Fan.
Just got a free coffee with my Earnify points.
Your what?
The points I get with the new Earnify app from BP and Amoco. I got $250 for signing up and more every time I fill up or buy anything in the C-store.
Oh, can you use points for fuel?
Of course.
And discounts and deals?
On anything.
Oh, like chips?
Mm-hmm.
Sodas?
You got it.
The actual slushy machine.
Only what's actually for sale. But you do get double the points for the first 90 days. Just go to earnifyrewards.com to download the app.
Available at participating locations only. App content is subject to change.
It's never too soon to get a jump on your holiday shopping, especially at Meijer. Start saving this week with our earliest holiday deals and get over 40% off on items like Mr. Coffee Coffee Maker or SodaStream Terra Machine. Start checking off your list and get 20% off on select toys like Nerf and Series Dart Blasters, Play-Doh play sets, and assorted puzzles. Shop even more great gift ideas like these in the Meijer Holiday Gift Guide, available on Meijer.com, in-store, or in the Meijer app. Exclusions apply.
Where can you find a locally owned John Deere dealership that offers unmatched individual attention? Voss Brothers Power Equipment. Voss Brothers has been serving our friends and neighbors in Central Ohio for over 30 years. Stop by their Powell location on Sawmill Road and make your work easier with the versatile John Deere 1025R compact utility tractor. Save with huge fall discounts and tackle any task with ease. With low prices and great service, come experience the difference at Voss Brothers Power Equipment.
Hey, Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived. The only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com, and use promo code JUSTSPORTS to get a welcome bonus up to $100. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Sunday, a day of rest, relaxation, and football. Catch the Brownies as they head to Philly to battle the Eagles.
Live coverage starts Sunday at 11 with the Kick It One.
Your Central Ohio home for Browns football, The Fan.
Listen to Sherrod Brown. When he wanted your vote.
On major issues, I'll stand up to the president of my own party.
But Sherrod Brown doesn't stand up to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. He votes with them 97% of the time. Brown supported Biden and Harris on radical issues like amnesty for 11 million illegal immigrants. Brown voted to give nearly $1 billion in COVID stimulus checks to convicted criminals in prison, even the Boston Marathon bomber. And Brown voted to give taxpayer-funded health care to illegals who get amnesty and Social Security benefits, too. So the next time Sherrod Brown tells you,
I'll stand up to the president of my own party.
Ignore it, because 31 years in Washington has changed Sherrod Brown. He's not for us anymore, and he's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.americancrossroads.org.
Are you ready to unleash the beast? Monster Energy is here to give you the edge this college tailgate season. Loaded with bold flavors, our powerful blend gives you the energy you need to push you beyond your limits. Tune in all season long with Monster, the energy drink of ESPN Radio College Football Tour. Power your performance with a drink that's as hungry for victory as you are. Crack open an ice-cold Monster and dominate your competition. Monster Energy. Unleash the beast. Grab yours today.
The best mornings
in the morning light
start with Wrangler.
Pull on my jeans and I feel alright.
Jeans, jackets, and shirts that get your day started on the right foot.
I pull my blue jeans on. I pull my old blue jeans on.
Good mornings make for better days.
I pull my blue jeans on. I pull my old blue jeans on.
Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Saturday is game day on The Fan.
Sponsored by Riker Ford.
Every game, every season, your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan. Producers, co-hosts, friends, some of those things are true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And if you're looking for tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series game at the Shoe, you're in luck. The Fan is giving away tickets to the biggest Jackets fans. Here's how you can win a pair of tickets to the game. Go to 971thefan.com. Describe what makes you the biggest fan and upload pictures. The top 10 biggest fans, as decided by the fan selection panel, will win a pair of tickets to the game. Must be entered by 11:59 p.m. on October 13th. The game is Saturday, March 1. It's at the Shoe, of course. The Jackets and Wings will drop the puck. Tickets are on sale now. Ticketmaster.com. Or on the Ticketmaster app for that side of things. All right, let's get into the matchup. When the Buckeyes have the ball, some of the statistical things Ohio State's done is pretty remarkable. Even more so on the defensive side. We'll get to that in a second. Buckeyes, 46 points a game. That's good for 4th nationally, juxtaposed to Oregon's defense, giving up 17 a game, good for 21st nationally. Total offense, Buckeyes 5-10, 9th offense in the country. Oregon, 10th defense in the country. So some strength versus strength matchups here that are pretty appealing. Pass offense, 288. Oregon's pass defense, 162. Rush offense, Ohio State, 222. That's 14th in the country. Oregon has given up 101, good for 24th. Remember, they gave up a ton to Genty in the game that he had. In the third down offense, this is a little bit of point of concern for the Buckeyes. Just 51% of the third downs. That is good for 11th nationally, so still very high. But remember, Ohio State has not played the quality of competition that some of the teams at the top of the polls have. Oregon's defense, good for 24th nationally on third down. This is the one that's astonishing no matter who you play. Ohio State is perfect in the red zone, 100%. They're in the red zone, they score points. Oregon's defense is 104th in that same statistical spot. So when you get in the red zone, score. The Buckeyes have. Will Howard is going to be the one at the controls of this one. He was available earlier this week and said, games like this is why you come here.
Oh, absolutely. When you come to a place like Ohio State, you want to play on the biggest stage, college game day, all the hype, 2 versus 3 matchup. Like, this is what you sign up for. And this is what I was looking forward to. And, it's a challenge, man. It's fun. This is what college football is all about. This is what you dream about as a kid, man. Like, just, being on this stage, playing in front of, a ton of people and a ton of people watching on TV. Like, it's a dream, man. And it's definitely a big reason why I came here.
I think we all kind of agree that, I don't want to speak for you two, but my sense is certainly that this is going to be a run it right at you. We dare you to stop at approach. I think you're going to see the quarterback run it a little bit. We haven't seen Will. He hasn't been needed, quite honestly. He spoke about it, though, earlier in this week about how comfortable he is running the ball, knowing that it could be a big part of what this Buckeye team does on Saturday.
Yeah, very. Everything's on the docket, and, we've definitely ramped it up as we've gone, and I think, the design quarterback run stuff is definitely going to be more of an emphasis, going forward. And I think that, it adds an element to our offense, and anytime that, you can add something that, they have to be worried about, or something extra that, that can present an issue to a defense. Like, we're going to take every advantage we can get. And I think the quarterback run stuff has been good. And I think we have a lot more up our sleeve, and I'm excited to get it out on the field. And I love doing it. I think it's fun. I think, getting my pads downhill and popping people. Like, I think it makes you feel more into the game, and I like to, that first hit, kind of warms you up and it gets you going, man. And it makes you a little more juiced, and it makes it more fun.
I mean, they're directly telling you what they're going to do.
Wing tee all night, baby.
They're telling you. I think we've got a pretty good read on how this is going to go. What percentage of what is available in the Buckeye offense do you think they've used?
40.
Thereabout. I've been thinking about that because I know that obviously you want to establish a run in this game, but I think this is going to be a let your hair down type of game because you haven't needed to unload the playbook. This is the time to do it.
I think your number's pretty close. I think it's about half. You heard that bite from Ryan earlier in the show when he was talking about, just kind of mixing it up and the culture and all of those things. And when he mentioned that Quinshawn and Trey have not played 4 quarters of football yet, that's something that you take note of. When your quarterback says, I'm comfortable running, there's a lot more moving forward, there's more stuff up our sleeve, they're telling you what they want to be. They are big, they are fast, they are a bludgeoning instrument. Blunt force trauma will be the path on Saturday. I'd be shocked if it wouldn't. I think you're going to hit some shots over the top for sure, but I think a steady diet of 1 and 32 coming right at you is a lot for anybody to deal with. There's no better backfield in the country. You got 2 All-American running backs, for God's sakes. That's what this is going to be, and then you're going to play action off of it. The question is, can Oregon withstand that? Chip was available this week as well and spoke on the Oregon defense in terms of the challenges they do pose.
I think the way Jordan Birch is playing right now up front, they've got a lot of seniors on their defense. I think there's 9 of them in that starting lineup. Everybody in the back end, the 2 linebackers, the 1 linebacker, Bassa, seems like he's been there for a long time. And then Betcher, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, number 28, who's a really good player, baseball player, has played really, really well. It kind of seems like he's the heart and soul of that defense. And then they have veterans in the secondary. I know they're transfer kids, but they're all seniors that have played a lot of football. So I think they're really gelling together as a group. They're going to present a lot of different looks. So we've got to be ready for everything they can throw at you, and they're going to throw a lot of things at you. So, that's the challenge when you're going to play a team like this. So you get excited about it.
Ashton Genty's probably the Heisman leader right now. Oregon played them early in the season. They survived 37-34 against Boise State. He ran it 25 times for 192 and 3 scores. As a team, Oregon ran it for 221, 6.7 per carry. If you're looking for a roadmap, kids, that's one of them.
So funny how the discussion for a while has been Ohio State's defense, and if they want to answer the bell from a physicality standpoint. I don't think I've ever heard a quarterback say he can't wait to get hit.
Well, it's like a Cam Newton thing. Cam used to do that. First drive, Cam would want to get hit to feel like he was into the game, and I think Will can't wait. Truly, I think. Yeah.
When was the last time you heard a quarterback that said, I'll paraphrase, I want to beat the hell out of this team?
That's
physically.
Yeah. They're telling you. Every once in a while, if you listen, someone will tell you what they're going to do to you, and I think the Buckeyes have done that this week. It's all in their comments. There is a clear plan for Saturday night that includes being physical and punching Oregon in the mouth, especially offensively to their defense. We'll see if they can execute it. My hunch is they are going to be able to. It is a monster weekend in the National Football League as well for the 2 local teams. We'll get you set for those 2 games. Get the other side of the matchup, the Buckeye defense versus Dylan Gabriel, and that Oregon offense, which moves it up and down the field but does not get in the red zone the way that they should, and it could be a key to the game on Saturday night. That is coming up in the second hour, 10:33. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Matty Ice has a large tattoo on his calf of LeBron eating a lion. I have nothing else to say. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
Direct Auto Insurance is for uncompromisers. The people who refuse to make trade-offs in life. Like Kelly, when her old car insurance got so expensive that she couldn't afford to drive anymore, do you think she started carrying her groceries for miles? No. But she did find Direct Auto's savings that allowed her to drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25%, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a quote today at directauto.com. Savings based on applied discounts and will vary. Terms apply. How you buy can affect price. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
This year's starting lineup at Honda Marysville is as strong as ever, so come see us.
Choose from Ohio's largest selection of Hondas and get 0% for 60 on any new CR-V, HR-V, Passport, Pilot, or Ridgeline with a trade.
Honda's built here, Honda's sold here. Honda Marysville. We're closer than you think.
0% with approved credit and 80% of MSRP financed. 2010 or newer trade with KBB appraisal at $2,500 or more. Must take delivery from dealer stock 10/31/24.
The season may be winding down, but there's still time to make the most of Buckeye Lake. At Buckeye Lake Marina, we have year-end deals on boats, accessories, and more to get you ready for next year's adventures. Looking to upgrade? The Buckeye Lake Marina staff is there to help you find the perfect boat at unbeatable prices. Buckeye Lake Marina has a long list of satisfied customers and want you to be the next. Don't wait. Sail into savings at Buckeye Lake Marina before the year ends and find the boat that's just right for you. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com for more.
Columbus, the wait is over. Blue Jackets hockey is back. Come feel the boom all season long. Be here Tuesday, October 15th for the home opener, presented by Nationwide. Get your tickets today at BlueJackets.com.
All right. Protect yourself, Ohio. Get your shots for COVID and flu today. A message from the Ohio Departments of Health and Aging.
I'll be honest, I'm really worried about my kids and grandkids. I never thought we'd be facing a national abortion ban in this country.
That's Kim. She lives in Cincinnati and is a grandma to 6.
If something happened to my family, I'd want them to have all the help they need. But with a national ban, they'll have nowhere to turn.
Bernie Moreno supports a national abortion ban, and he has said he is 100% against abortion with no exceptions. And if Moreno's in the Senate, he could be the deciding vote to pass a national abortion ban.
Last year, we voted to protect abortion in Ohio. Now, Bernie Moreno wants to get rid of that completely. It's simple. I don't trust Bernie Moreno to do what's right for my family. He should never be Ohio's senator.
Your Community PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, paid for by Your Community PAC, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Learn more at yourcommunitypac.org.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text BREAK to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text BREAK to 321-321. That's BREAK to 321-321.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Number 2 Ohio State's headed to Oregon to battle the third-ranked Ducks tomorrow night at 7:30. Buckeyes are 3-point favorites in this one. We'll have live fan pregame coverage starting Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Ohio State's on a bye next week. On the field tonight, number 16 Utah's at Arizona State. Kickoff from Tempe is 10:30. In the NFL last night, the 49ers beat the Seahawks 36-24. Week 6 continues Sunday at 1. The Eagles host the Browns. Sunday night, the Giants host the Bengals. On the ice last night in Minnesota, the Wild beat the Blue Jackets 3-2. CBJ are at Colorado Saturday before hosting the Florida Panthers next Tuesday. In baseball Friday, the Dodgers host the Padres in Game 5 of the NLDS. Winner gets the Mets in the NLCS. Tomorrow night, the Guardians host the Tigers in Game 5 of the ALCS. This update is sponsored by Valley Ford of Columbus. From F-150 to F-750, Valley Ford of Columbus is Ohio's commercial truck headquarters. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Have you already started your tailgate? Us too. It's Football Friday.
Sponsored by Tansky's Sawmill Toyota.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan. The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
Second hour here on a Football Friday. Get you set for the Bucks and the Ducks on Saturday night out in Eugene. Tim May coming up at 10:33. We'll take a look at the other side of the matchup, the Oregon offense and Dylan Gabriel and all of the weapons they have against a Buckeye defense that so far this season has been kind of historical in terms of how great it has been, but obviously no test quite like the one that they will face on Saturday night in Eugene. I'm going to give you guys a list of the teams in the National Football League who are 1-4. New England Patriots, Jacksonville Jaguars, Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals, Carolina Panthers, LA Rams. That's it. That's the list. Now, the Rams probably fancy themselves as that being quite disappointing, but remember the injuries they've had up front, all of their receivers, they've been battered, and the Rams have been really competitive. So too have the Bengals have been really competitive. But most people, including me, thought that Cincinnati would be the biggest thing standing between Kansas City and another trip to the Super Bowl. It has not manifested that way at all. They are 1-4. They are wildly disappointing. The reason I gave you that list is if you were to say which teams in the NFL would have that record, you probably would bet on New England. You might even talk about Jacksonville and Tennessee. That's a possibility. You would not have said these two teams, not either one of them. I have more confidence in Cincinnati being able to dig themselves out of it because of how good they've been playing offensively. They have been humming. Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He has played to that point. They've unlocked Jamar Chase. They just need to get some stops defensively, and they can flip this thing in a hurry. Burrow was available this week, and he spoke about how good the offense has been playing.
We're confident in our group. We're rolling on offense right now, which is, we've still left some points out there, which, when you score 33, 34 back-to-back and you feel like that you've left points on the board, it's a good spot to be as an offense. So, we're going to continue to, chase perfection, trying to score on every drive. It's a big opportunity. We thrive in these moments. We're excited about it, in front of our fans that we're going to need on Sunday. I hope they're excited too. So we're putting in the work this week to go out and put our best foot forward.
He was asked also if the Bengals can get to a championship level this season. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I know we can. Whether we do or not is to be determined, but I know, based on the players that we have in there and the coaches we have out there, I know we can get to where we want to. It's just a matter of doing it.
Burrow holds him to a pretty high standard, as he should. It's a championship caliber team. At least that's what we thought as they were going through training camp and through the offseason. This is obviously an all-in approach for Cincinnati. They will not have T. Higgins next year. So in terms of this incarnation of the Bengals, this is it. They're not a great team now. Can they get there? Here's Burrow on that.
I would say right now we're not the team to beat. We're 1-4. I don't think there's any balance to find. I don't think we can say that about ourselves right now. There's a lot of work to do before we can consider anything postseason wise. I think right now we just have to focus on the week-to-week, day-to-day, and trying to get a win.
Their losses are pretty stupefying. When you lose by 1 at Kansas City and there's a call that if it goes the other way, you win. They were lit up by the Commanders, but it's a 5-point game. You give up 38 to a rookie quarterback. That's a tough one to swallow. The only win is at Carolina, and then last week losing to the Ravens 41-38, where you're up 2 scores for much of the game and then blow it. Here is why I feel pretty decent about where Cincinnati is. They are at the Giants, which is a more robust test than certainly we thought it was going to be. They are there on Sunday Night Football this week. And then at Cleveland to follow. That's been a house of horrors for Burrow, but this Browns team is not the ones that have given them problems. Then they get Philly. So that's a full day, and then it is the Raiders, followed by the Ravens, and then at Chargers. That's where they are. That's the next few games for them. If they can get to 4-5, they're fine. But they've got to get to 4-5. They have got to win at least 3 of those games before that bye week that comes right around the Thanksgiving holiday.
Yeah, and I think just with what you've seen, and again, Joe Burrow is the ultimate elevator. So that's where I have similar confidence that of those teams you listed 1-4, they can turn this around. But it's also because he's got a guy like Jamar Chase, that anytime he touches the football, they can break a game open. And, I don't know if you want to call it emergence. And Chase Brown's been really good at spots, but, they've also struggled to run the ball at spots. And so that's got to be more consistent so that Burrow to Chase connection can improve. I mean, he's gotten 10 receptions, 6 receptions for Chase, only 3 against the Carolina Panthers, in which they didn't need him, but 193 yards, 118 yards in 2 losses by a 1-score game. It does give you confidence to where they're not getting their ass kicked.
I believe in the Bengals. They're a talented bunch. They're notoriously slow starters, which has got to be frustrating as hell for Bengals fans. But if you get any semblance of defense, I mean, look at that Ravens game. I'm pretty sure the only defensive stop they got after halftime was the Lamar Jackson fumble, which then led to, setting up the 50-plus yard field goal they missed. Yeah. But they led up touchdown field goal from there on out. So that's just an incredibly frustrating situation. And Lord knows the Bengals have had their defensive struggles in the past handful of years, but I think that this is a talented bunch. I believe in Joe Burrow. I believe in Jamar Chase. I believe in T. Higgins. So I think they're absolutely a threat, and they're playing competitive football.
We talk about just how razor thin the margins in the NFL are, like how different our conversation, how different conversations are in Ohio's Queen City if the snap just gets put down.
Oh, yeah. 2 and 3?
That's it.
Yeah. I think the minimum requirement is going to be 10. 10 wins. So that's they got to win 9 left. Of what they've got left, they've got to get 9 of them. I don't know that 9 and 8 will do it. I think in the AFC, you're going to have to win 10. So I think that's kind of the number that they need to shoot for, and that needs to start. You cannot go to 1 and 5. That's at that point, no matter how good Burrow is, it's hard to imagine that you'd be able to run off the type of run and up streak that it would take to be able to get to that 10-win number. I was asked this question yesterday, and I want to pose it to you, Reese, in regard to the Browns' rivals in the division, up 71 North, the Cleveland Browns. Is there any way for this Browns season to be a success if it falls short of the postseason, which is very likely at this point? Is there any way? I had an answer for it. I'm curious what you would say.
I don't see it.
So I think there is a way, and I think the only way of it is if Deshaun Watson plays great the rest of the way, which is bloody unlikely. But if he does, and even if they lose, that at least would give you some hope that he is who he once was. The year he led the NFL in passing in Houston, they went 4-12. So that was the last great season he played, and they lost a lot of games. So that, I think, could be success. Anything else, benching him and finding a winning streak is a can of worms that once it's open, you're not putting them back in, and it is a mess of the highest order. There is no clean way to move off of Deshaun Watson. It is ugly, it is brutal, it is cap paralyzing, it is all of those things. The bet on him was so enormous. So anything short of him resurrecting is a difficult conversation to have. The question is it one they're going to have in the next month? Is it one they could have after this week if they lose at Philly? His offensive coordinator is Ken Dorsey. Dorsey was brought in to mix Stefanski's offense with some of the things that Dorsey did in Buffalo with Josh Allen, the shotgun mix. And you've seen a lot of that. It has failed about as miserably as can be. By any metric that matters, the Browns are the worst offense in football. By any metric that matters. Here is Dorsey on Watson and the confidence he still has in him.
We've got obviously, a lot of faith in Deshaun. I think for us, it's about everybody's got to do, got to be better on the offensive side of the ball. It's not just a point the finger at one person, anything like that. As coaches, as players, we all have to do better. It takes all 11, and it takes more than 11 in offense because you got the coaches, you got the look team on giving us a good look during the week. You got guys who, hey, this route was for so-and-so, but all of a sudden something happens in the game, his shoelace broke, hey, somebody else got to come in and run it, and we got to take ownership of that. So it takes all 11.
So here's what I noticed. I noticed this from Ken, and now Kevin did it earlier in the week. It's just word salad. Because unfortunately, there are a lot of things that are bad. They are giving up the most pressures, and a historic amount of pressures in the first 5 games of the season. Their pressure rate is so far and away the biggest in the league, it's not close. Some of that's on the offensive line, some of that's on the quarterback, some of that's on what's being called. There are a bunch of different factors as to why they're bad offensively. But what is absolutely true is that the quarterback doesn't elevate anything. And if anything, it goes the other way. I would say this. If they lose to Philly, and this thing stretched to 10 yesterday. Is that still what the number is? Is Philly favored by 10?
That's what I'm saying.
Game? 10. Okay.
That's not great.
So it went from Sunday night 3 to 6.5 to 8.5. We got it yesterday at 9.5. Now it's 10. If they lose and Philly covers the 10, you cannot run this operation out the following Sunday at home against Cincinnati 1-5 after 2 hopeless performances. You cannot. That place will boo him. And you can try and start Nick Chubb, although I don't think he's at all ready for that. Nick is not playing this week. I'd be shocked if he got any carries the next week, but he has to be active. Otherwise, his whole season is shot. You can't run the same operation out at home against Cincinnati if you're 1-5 and you get drilled 2 weeks in a row.
I am wondering what then the plan would be for him. Like, he obviously, no, you're not going to give him. Maybe if he has to be active a couple carries, or I guess put him in for a couple of snaps.
He doesn't have to get the ball. He doesn't have to get the ball. He just has to be active.
Put him out there, and so maybe for the first couple of plays offensively, you're able to run him out there just for something for the fans to cheer about. Like, please, Nick Chubb, come and save us, even though that's not going to be the case at all. And I think you would be foolish to think. But it does feel that the straws they have to grasp at are thinning.
The most angry I ever have been in a sporting event was when LeBron James returned to Cleveland the first time with the Miami Heat, and I was honestly fearful for his life. I was in the building that day, and I was fearful for his life. I thought someone might try to physically harm him the first time he returned to Cleveland when he was with the Heat. The second most angry I've ever been in a stadium was the Thursday night football first half when they drafted Baker Mayfield, and they kept trotting out Tyrod Taylor, and they couldn't do anything. And they hadn't won a game in 2 years, and if Baker Mayfield doesn't come in and win that game, I don't know if Hugh Jackson or anyone associated with the Browns is going to get out of that stadium. He did, and it became pure joy. That will be repeated next week, except there isn't a Baker to come save it. There isn't. So they need to be respectable this week. I see a hard for me to imagine they're going to flip it and be able to win, but they need to be competitive. And if they lose and get housed, they cannot run the same operation back the following week at Cincinnati at home. You can't do it. There's no way. So that's big ones for both Ohio teams this weekend. As for the Buckeyes and the Ducks, we get back into that matchup. Can this Buckeye defense, which has been exceptional, continue to be so against its biggest test by far to date? We'll talk about that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you miss a live show, you can catch the podcast. If you miss the podcast, our hosts have volunteered to have dinner with you. Ma, the meatloaf! The Fan.
Hey Columbus, Caden Curry here, Ohio State student athlete for Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. When it comes to hard work, whether on the field or the farm, I need something that's as tough and reliable as I am. That's why I trust Kubota diesel tractors from Green & Sons. Kubota's diesel tractor motors are high-powered, reliable, and don't stop running, just how I like to play. So when you're serious about getting the job done, you need the Kubota equipment you can trust from Green & Sons. Check them out at greenandsons.com or stop by one of their stores in Mount Sterling and in Raymond, north of Marysville.
Hey Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived. The only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com, and use promo code JUSTSPORTS to get a welcome bonus up to $100. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Common Man here for Care Heating and Cooling. Weather is unpredictable, but the inside of your home should be comfortable just the way you like it. And the best way to avoid those unnecessary surprises is with a care plan. See, with a care plan, you get priority service, system maintenance in case of an emergency. Just another way to give you and your family peace of mind. And maintaining your systems properly can help save you money. A properly maintained furnace and air conditioner run more efficiently, reducing your utility usage. Regular maintenance also prevents breakdowns and extends the life of your equipment. I'm on the care plan, and I'm quite the expert. I'll stop by and give your system a once-over. I will. Don't tempt me. I end every commercial the same way, telling you to hire Care when you need a company you can trust. It's not just the slogan. That's the Care creed. How about this? Lennox. They have thousands of dealers nationwide. HVAC royalty. Last year, Lennox gave Care their coveted Partner of the Year award because they're trusted by their customers and their partners. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com when you need a company you can trust.
Much like a vampire, we need to be invited into your house. But once we're in, we never leave. Listen to The Fan on your Alexa or Google Home smart speaker. Just say play 97.1 The Fan and prepare to be amazed. Do it now.
We've seen it before.
Politicians and lobbyists playing games, drawing voting maps to keep power in their hands, not ours. Courts have ruled Ohio's voting districts unconstitutional 7 times, while our communities have been left out again and again. But this November, you have a chance to change that with Issue 1. Issue 1 will make it illegal for politicians to manipulate voting districts for themselves or their own party. Instead, it creates an open, transparent process where a diverse group of citizens, not politicians, will draw the lines. No more backroom deals, no more gerrymandering, just fairer maps that represent our communities. Issue 1 gives you and me the power to ensure everyone's vote counts. This is about real change, a chance to end the games and make our voices heard. So vote yes on Issue 1, fair representation, and power to the people. Paid for by citizens, not politicians.
In his campaign ads, Sherrod Brown thinks everything's pretty funny. But it's not when you look at his voting record. Brown voted to allow transgender biological males to compete in girls' sports. Unfair and dangerous. Brown introduced a bill letting transgender biological men into girls' locker rooms and girls' bathrooms. That's just not right. And Brown supported allowing puberty blockers and sex change surgery for children. Migrants are flooding into Ohio, but Brown voted for government handouts to illegal immigrants and voted 10 times to protect sanctuary cities that release dangerous illegal immigrant criminals onto Ohio's streets. Sorry, Sherrod, your seriously bad votes are no joke. And Ohio doesn't think it's funny. Sherrod Brown has let us down. He's way too liberal for Ohio. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Longing for thick, healthy, gorgeous hair? Say goodbye to shedding thin and dull hair and hello to thick, healthy hair with hair volume from New Nordic.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Happy Friday. Time now to get a look at that weather report. 73 is your high today. Sunny skies. Clear tonight with a low around 48. Tomorrow we are looking at increasing clouds with a high of 77. On Sunday, look for a few possible showers with a high of 76. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
If you're starting your day any other way, you're doing it wrong. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan. Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
And we are, of course, sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without the medications. A solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss. The other side of that matchup is this Ducks offense versus the Buckeye defense. Dylan Gabriel has been very, very efficient so far this season. In fact, he's completing 78% of his passes, 1447, 11 touchdowns, and 3 picks through 5 games. So just under 300 yards passing a game, an 80% clip in terms of what he is doing on a completion percentage part. And if you've seen them play, I've seen them play 3 times this season so far. The one constant is they will nickel and dime you down the field. It's a lot of easy stuff. They can move it up and down at will. When you go through the numbers, though, there's some things that jump out, and I want you to pay attention to these. Let's start with Oregon offensively. Overall, Oregon's scoring 35 a game. That's good for 32nd in the country. Conversely, the Buckeye defense just giving up 6.8. Guess what? That's first. Total offense, Oregon 458, so about 50 yards per game less than the Buckeyes. That's good for 25th offensively in the country. The Buckeye defense is giving up 202.4. Guess what? That's first. Pass offense, Oregon 294. That's 19th in the country. The Ohio State defense is 129.8. That's 4th in the country. Rush offense, Oregon 164.4. That's 67th in the country. Ohio State's giving up 72. That's good for 3rd in the country. Third down conversions, the Oregon offense, about 50% of them. Ohio State's defense, 14th in the country at getting off the field on third down. So while it feels like it's been an issue, and I think some of it has been the opponents they've played, they've actually been pretty competitive, especially in the second half of the game. They make adjustments at halftime, Jim Knowles does, and his defense gets off the field in the second half. This is the one, though. that ought to make you feel pretty good as a Buckeye fan, and it's something Oregon's going to have to flip if they're going to try to be competitive and win the game on Saturday night. In the red zone, and we've talked about this a lot in regard to the Ducks, they are scoring on just 81% of their clip of their trips in there. That is 93rd in the country. They leave a lot of points on the field. Gabriel will throw it to you in the red zone. He had 2 red zone picks last weekend in their win against Michigan State. Conversely, the Buckeyes, 60% defense in the red zone. That's good for 3rd in the country. I led the show talking about the 2021 loss to Oregon and how it was the catalyst of a narrative that began to say that Ohio State wasn't tough enough, something that was proven in the Michigan game the couple of years that followed. Cody Simon was around. He remembers it. Here's what he had to say about it.
I can remember back to that time. I don't think we were prepared, just mentally, physically, and, we made a lot of mistakes just going back we've watched some film from that game, but, it's a different team now, a different everything. So we have a different mindset, and we're ready to just attack and play our game.
This offense with Dillon Gabriel is one that you've seen a lot. It is an RPO-heavy offense. He is an incredible conductor of it, wildly accurate. Here's Cody Simon on the Ducks quarterback, Dillon Gabriel.
He's a good thrower. He's a talented thrower. He can move in the pocket too. He's probably one of the better quarterbacks we face all season. So it's been our job to contain him and limit his playmaking ability.
Like I've been saying with Gabriel, and if you've watched him play, you've seen this as well. They just move it up and down, but they really struggled in the red zone in several of their wins. It's something they're going to have to be better at. Gabriel will be the catalyst for it. He was one of the Heisman frontrunners coming in. A win at home against the Buckeyes would catapult him right back to the top of it. Here is the Oregon signal caller on the Buckeye defense and the threats it poses.
Extremely talented, play extremely hard, and have produced. So. I guess when you combine all 3 of those, you see it in game, and that's why they're putting up the numbers they are. So, very intriguing to watch, and they've done a great job.
I think for the Ducks, he's going to have to be sensational in this game. They're going to have to, when they get in the red zone, they're going to have to make the Buckeyes pay. It's something they've struggled with. Gabriel was asked by the assembled media out in Eugene what it will take to win the game on Saturday night. Here's what he had to say.
I think going back to the basis of winning, for sure. But, of course, in these atmospheres as well, experience is a huge thing. I think, the turnover battle, 3rd downs, 4th downs, efficiency, and then scoring in the red area. I think when you combine all those 3, you can look at it, and usually that's, the main 3 categories of winning. But, I think just, naturally there's a lot of energy and hype for everyone, but the best, team at focusing and honing in on, their job, usually does a great job in the game as well.
I think if you were to say you can have one thing go your way from the Buckeye perspective, it would be to disrupt Dillon Gabriel, because this is truly the strength versus. He has played a lot of football, and he's won a lot of football games going back to UCF, to Oklahoma, and now at Oregon. He was brought in there to be kind of the cherry on top of a roster that didn't need many. They were active in the portal. They got some studs. Evan Stewart obviously came as well. They got guys like Tez Johnson. This might be the best. It might be the best top to bottom overall receiving group. It's right there with the one that we have. It's at the top of the sport. Texas is very good as well, but certainly in the top 2 or 3 in the sport in terms of overall talent there. So if you can be disruptive up front and you can cover on the back end, then that will be, I think, where this can be won in a pretty decisive factor. I don't know if they'll be able to get James Jordan going running the football. My hunch is the linebackers will be up to the challenge. 3's linebackers will be. So I think it's just going to come down to, can you disrupt Gabriel? To me, and he's been undisruptible to this point, 78%. He will throw it to you. He did it last week against Michigan State. He will throw you the ball. You just got to be able to make it count when he does.
Yeah, I think for those out, and you can't nitpick too much from this Ohio State defense. There's not a lot. Those who want to see bigger sack numbers for Tuimoloau and for Jack Sawyer, I don't necessarily know if this is going to be that sort of a game, is where they're going to want to get pressure, but they're also going to need to keep contained with that Dillon Gabriel and the RPO style of offense. Like, they want to go, a couple yards, like dunk it down the field, but he can break things open with one play. He can go 50-plus yards down the field with his legs, and then you're wondering what the hell just happened. So I think for them, it's to get up the field, but also to contain. I think the bigger thing for Ohio State up front is Tyleik Williams and those tackles. If they can get the pressure and push him out into waiting arms, the wonderful hug by JTT or by Jack Sawyer, I think that's the perfect recipe for beating this Oregon offense.
And I imagine, too, with Dylan Gabriel, the amount of football that he's played, he's not going to be someone who turns the ball over a ton with bad reads. He had a couple interceptions last week. Maybe you chalk it up to a trap game or something like that, but I assume that he's going to be pretty disciplined with the football. So the way that you get him to turn the ball over is to pressure him and force him into situations where he's got to decide in a split second, do I take a sack or do I take a risk? Maybe that risk ends up in your hands.
Yeah, and the one thing about them is when you talk about the pressures of the sacks, it's going to be quick drops. The ball's going to be out quick. So it's going to be a lot of tackling in space. He is not going to sit in the pocket and allow it. There's not going to be any 7-step drops. Like, this is going to be ball out quick. It's going to be to the perimeter. And can you tackle in space? Ohio State has proven so far this season that they've been able to. Tim May is out in Eugene. He will join us coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Death, taxes, and beating Michigan every damn year. This is your flagship home for Ohio State football. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. And when it comes to fall, we often think of those cooler temperatures, the trees changing colors, the bonfires in the evening, and of course, football season. We less often think of those home projects that we've been neglecting or failed to finish up before those harsh Ohio winter hits. If you need to have your roof inspected or it's on your to-do list, you can ensure that Newman Roofing will get you ready for those harsh winter storms. The team over at Newman has you covered, and they're family-owned and locally operated right here in Central Ohio since 1992. The 3 generations that have been in the roofing industry, they have the expertise to handle any issue you may be facing with your roof. Folks, they took care of my roof. They did a fantastic job. They're the experts, and they will give you the white glove treatment, because when your name is on it, it just means more. So if you need your roof repaired or replaced this fall, call the company you can trust. That's Newman Roofing at newmanroofing.com or 614-NEW-ROOF.
We are Ortho Alliance. Together, we deliver the most experienced orthopedic care near you and throughout Central Ohio. Together, we provide expert care when you need it with same-day and next-day appointments. We put our patients' care first, from physical therapy to the most challenging joint replacement surgeries. We are JIS Orthopedics, Ortho Neuro, Orthopedic Associates of Zanesville, Orthopedic Foot and Ankle Center, and Orthopedic Specialists in Sports Medicine. And we are better together. Visit orthoalliance.com or call 877-WE-ARE-OA.
Direct auto insurance is for uncompromisers. Like Matt. When his old car insurance got so expensive, do you think he walked until his sneakers wore out? No, because he found savings with Direct Auto so he could drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25% on state minimum coverage, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a free quote at directauto.com or a store near you. Savings vary, terms apply. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Guess what? Our ugly faces are on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan and watch all your favorite shows. Laptop, phone, tablet, smart TV, we're everywhere. Bring us in the bedroom with you. Yes, The Fan.
I'll be honest, I'm really worried about my kids and grandkids. I never thought we'd be facing a national abortion ban in this country.
That's Kim. She lives in Cincinnati and is a grandma to 6.
If something happened to my family, I'd want them to have all the help they need. But with a national ban, they'll have nowhere to turn.
Bernie Moreno supports a national abortion ban, and he has said he is 100% against abortion with no exceptions. And if Moreno's in the Senate, he could be the deciding vote to pass a national abortion ban.
Last year, we voted to protect abortion in Ohio. Now, Bernie Moreno wants to get rid of that completely. It's simple. I don't trust Bernie Moreno to do what's right for my family. He should never be Ohio's senator.
Your Community PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, paid for by Your Community PAC, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Learn more at yourcommunitypac.org.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text SAVVY to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text SAVVY to 42424. That's SAVVY to 42424.
You want an easy way to feed your friends? You get a Jersey Mike's catering box. You want an exciting radio idea? You get me. Like this. There's a Jersey Mike's catering box off the coast of Corsica that needs rescuing. Me and a team of mercenaries go in, barrel rolling past the sleeping guard, and we find the catering box in a secret bunker. I say, men, let's get these 12 subs home. But they're already eating them. That's the problem with mercenaries. You can't trust them. The Jersey Mike's catering box, a sub above.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
The best hair on the air. You are listening to Bishop and Friends.
10:30 on a Football Friday. We talked to our good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show at Letterman Row and right here on The Fan. All right, if I know you at all, you're already there, right? You got there yesterday?
Yeah, I'm actually standing about 150 yards from the Pacific Ocean right now.
God, of course you are. So if I know you at all, you are probably going to, so you'll cover the game in only the way that you can in expert fashion, and then you will probably turn this into a little bit of a Pacific Northwest tour. Are you playing golf? Are you playing Bandon Dunes?
I'm not. No, I'm not.
Come on.
I'm hoping I get back to Oregon. This is the first time I've ever been to Oregon. I've been to Washington several times. Yeah, but I'm standing right here. Me and my buddy Snook came over here to Newport, right on the coast, yesterday, and I'm standing here about 150 yards from the Pacific Ocean. I put a couple of pictures. Old man Kelsey's Ocean. I put a couple of pictures on the internet a while ago on the X Twitter, and but it's pretty cool. It's a different. And then this is totally different from Eugene because you go over the coastal mountains into the valley, and it warms up sometimes quite considerably. But never been out here before, Bo, and never been to Autzen Stadium. So, and then after that, going to go see Crater Lake. Going to go up to Bend after the game, and then maybe take a drive around Mount Hood on the way back. I think it's Mount Hood on the way back to Portland Airport, where yesterday, getting off the plane, you can ask your buddy Patrick Murphy about this maybe too. I think it was a 1.5 mile walk to baggage claim.
That's a long ways.
I'm not kidding you. It was stupid, and that's the only way of putting it. It was one of those things where, like, you ever run a distance race before? You think around the next corner that's going to be the lead to the finish line, and then it's another 2 blocks. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
It was really an eye-opening experience, let's put it away, and I got my steps in.
You certainly did. They're very proud of the carpet at that airport. Let me ask you this. You've been around this league a long time. You've been around the Buckeyes a long time.
Yeah.
Now that you're out there, and Oregon's spectacular. To me, I said yesterday on the show, Tim, I think it's going to be the #1 road trip Buckeye fans take on a consistent basis. I think it's just awesome. Portland's great. Eugene's great.
There are already thousands. There are thousands of Buckeye fans here. I don't know how they're all getting into that stadium, but we'll see. Go ahead now.
I think there'll be a lot of red around that stadium or in it on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Does it feel? How does it feel? I mean, they're a Big Ten team now, Tim.
It feels different. But it's I do equate it to this. If NFL teams and programs can do this, why can't major college, big time, over the top programs like Ohio State? And here's the thing. I mean, I keep reminding people of this. Buckeye Nation is a real thing, man. I mean, it's as in there are Ohio State fans and alums everywhere, internationally, much less nationally. And but then I think 3/4 of the plane from Columbus to Chicago early yesterday morning, and then from Midway to here or to Portland, three-quarters of the people on the plane were Ohio State fans and already in their regalia, decked out in their regalia. And, of course, the Southwest flight attendant took advantage of it. He goes, I got to do this at least once. He goes, OH, and everybody goes, IO, So, I mean, it was pretty remarkable. And I give it up to him, man. You know this, Bo. Ohio State and a few other major college programs are what really drive the engine in this whole thing. And it's never more clear than if you take a crowd shot. If you take a crowd shot at Northwestern versus Ohio State, and then take one at Northwestern versus, name the team. Well, actually, you can do that with anybody with Northwestern.
You could, yeah.
But it's just stunning how the Ohio State fans show up. Is I guess in summation.
What percentage of the Ohio State offense have we seen to this point, and will we see all of it tomorrow?
No, I don't think we'll see all of it tomorrow. I mean, dude, they're lucky to run 60, 65, 67 plays anymore with these new timing rules and everything. It's taken away about 20 chances in major college football games. I think that's kind of a joke.
I agree.
Bending over backwards to make games shorter just so TV can run more 3-minute timeouts. Give me a break. There, I got that off my chest. Number two, what I really like and admire about Chip Kelly and his approach to offense is he'll show you this week, and you get ready to see that next week, and they line up the same way, and then they run something counter to that. And I expect exactly the same on Saturday or tomorrow. I expect we will see things off of things that he's already shown, and that's clever. And then you go back to your basic things you've shown, and now what's coming, right? So that's what I like about him more than anything else. Does every play go for a home run? No, but you can see in the basically in the schematics of like a run play, a basic run play is not a basic run play anymore. I mean, there's action, and it's like a chorus line up front with the offensive line on many occasions, getting out and showing you a power sweep to the right, and then there's a counter motion to it to the left. Or, hey, you know what? That big 6'5", 235-pound quarterback, Will Howard, may keep it. I mean, that's just in the run game. In the pass game, he and Ryan Day, and a lot of this is still Ryan Day. Obviously, they know how to scheme guys open and then play pitch and catch instead of some other wild thing. So we haven't seen it all, I don't think, by any stretch, because there are nuances to what you've already seen.
There's that old phrase, if somebody tells you who they are, sometimes just believe it. And I think that maybe applies this week. I was listening to Ryan Day at his various availabilities. He lamented that Quinshon and Travion have not even played a full 4 quarters together. I was listening to Will Howard and his availability. He was talking about how his willingness to run, and he goes, we haven't had to do that yet, but it feels like they're going to. My hunch is that you're going to get blunt force trauma with the Buckeye offense on Saturday night. Is that your read as well?
Yeah, well, you're talking about what would I do? What would you and I do? The Bo-O, you know what I mean? Or
you know what we would do.
The May Day offense. I mean, yeah, right. Well, I've always believed it. They did this against Georgia, man. When you've got a Jalen Carter or somebody like that, this vaunted Georgia offense, they scored 41 points on those dudes, and a lot of it was just going right at them, as opposed to trying to get wide and you know what I mean, just get cute, go right at them, because Ohio State has a quite large offensive line. Number one, and athletic. And then number two, you've got a quarterback that can move around. That's what was the difference against Georgia. C.J. Stroud finally moved around, and you saw the difference in the offense. I mean, you've got this great defense not really knowing what's coming next, and they know if they lose contain with a quarterback like that, he can kill you throwing the ball or running. But that's the thing about Will Howard. Will Howard has to have the game. The interesting thing in the pregame show last week, the tailgate show, I mentioned, we were talking about the weapons. I said, don't forget Will Howard can run.
Yeah.
And then he ran 10 times, I think, most times he's run all year. And he and Dylan Gabriel are much alike in that aspect. They can both create something when things break down. That's basic right now, right? Correct? In college football, You got to have that dude. I think both of these teams have that dude.
Yeah, I think they do as well. On the defensive side, the Buckeye defense has been superb, best defense in the country by most measures that certainly matter. Oregon has moved it up and down the field, Tim, but they've really struggled in the red zone. Gabriel had a couple of picks in the red zone last week against Michigan State. What do you expect Knowles to do with an Oregon offense that it's hard to get home because the ball comes out so quick? What will be his answer to that? If there is a frustration, it has been an inability to get off the field on third down, especially in first halves. What do you expect to see from Knowles Saturday?
Yeah, and they've only given up 30 points.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Look, you can get as cute as you want, but the main thing about this Oregon offense, you got to keep it in front of you. That's basic football 101. You can't. What Ohio State has been great at, though, is not giving up the huge play. Well, I mean, yeah, Caleb Johnson went 28 yards for his touchdown last week against basically second and third teamers. That was just to keep Iowa from getting shut out. But in the crux of that game, Iowa was stifled. And I think Ohio State has done a great job, as Cody Simon says, in those middle 20 minutes of 8 minutes of a game on the clock. But the middle 8 minutes of a game on the clock, last part of the second quarter and beginning of the third quarter, of taking control of these games. Whether they can do it tomorrow remains to be seen. But with an Oregon offense that's potent, and this is a potent Oregon offense, you got to make them get to the red zone and then earn it. Not let them get the cheap ones. I mean, the two special teams returns against Boise State flipped that game. Way back in September, and gave Oregon a little bit of a cushion that they needed. But the main thing is you gotta keep them in front of you, tackle them, and try to get them off the field on third down. And the thing is, when we talk about the third down defense, we're a little bit nitpicking, as you well know, because Iowa didn't score until the fourth quarter, and that's the main thing is, you remember your old boy Bobby Bowden, what he used to say when they had the lead at halftime, he would turn to the defense at every game they had the lead at halftime and go, hey, these guys don't score, we win.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
It finally comes down to how many points do you have compared to them, and I know you probably got a little chill when I brought Bobby Bowden there because it finally does become basics of don't let them score no matter what.
All right, buddy, you got 30 seconds. How do you see it going Saturday?
Yeah, I like Ohio State's chances big time in this. I think Ohio State has the better overall team. You never know how breaks are going to go from the standpoint of turnovers, et cetera. Both these teams have been pretty good at getting some of those, but I think Ohio State holds sway and maybe a double, double point fashion, as in 34-24, something like that. That's what I picked on Letterman Row, so I guess I better stand by it.
Right. Hey, give my best to Snook. Enjoy Oregon. It's a gorgeous state. I know that you will. We'll talk to you soon.
You got it, brother. I always enjoy it being on with the bow.
Tim Bay, thank you very much. The Tim Bay Show on Letterman Row and right here on The Fan. We hit Thing or Not a Thing on a Football Friday. Up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Everyone has that one goal, that thing they want to prove. Not to other people, but to themselves. Then, right when you think you could actually do it, cancer. And that goal is still within reach. Oh no, I'm about to run my first ever marathon with my two best friends. 3 years after having cancer.
At least we look good in these shorts.
Woo! Let's get it, guys. You, keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keep making plans to learn more.
Life. It's full of strange twists and unexpected surprises. But at AAA, it's always been our policy to look on the plus side. And our AAA Plus members tend to take the same view. Take Martin, for example. Last Monday, his morning coffee surprised him with an extra 10 degrees of Fahrenheit. Ouch! It was just the jolt of energy he needed to start the day. Later, when his shirt was targeted by the mustard on his burger, he became a proud trendsetter.
Martin, looking good.
And when he walked face first into a sparkling glass door, he was happy to provide some much-needed entertainment for his coworkers.
I'm okay.
And of course, when his car battery took early retirement, Martin felt no resentment. He knew there was a plus side. AAA's expert roadside assistance was only a call away.
Hello, AAA. Are you in a safe location?
While we can't all be like Martin, we can become a AAA Plus member and experience the peace of mind that comes with living on the plus side. Towing is subject to a 7-day waiting period. Terms and conditions apply.
Attention, small business or sole proprietors. Do you want to save money on health care for your business? Be able to cover your employees with the best dental, doctors, and hospitals? Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter for the SACA Benefit Plan. Nearly 100,000 members strong in the state of Ohio. The SACA Benefit Plan is administered by Anthem and could be right for you. Small businesses, visit 844-MEDOhio.com. That's medohio.com. The SACA Benefit Plan could be right for you. Visit 844-MEDOhio.com.
There's nothing like having Common Man and T-Bone resting on your bosom.
Oh, for someone with no breasts, you've done very well for yourself.
Gross. Pick up the latest T-shirt in the Fan store or pick up merch from a show you actually like. We even have Ohio State and jacket stuff. Head to 971thefan.com.
Replace your heating and cooling system with Logan Services. Get 0% APR financing for 72 months on a qualifying Train system. It's hard to stop a Train. Find us online and schedule your free estimate now. Logan Services.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. I love my Kubota tractor, RTV, and zero-turn I got from Green & Sons, and you can check them out online at greenandsons.com or visit them in store in Mount Sterling or north of Marysville in Raymond for all your Kubota needs.
Football fans, are you ready to score big this NFL season? Hey, it's T-Bone to tell you that Bud Light and 97.1 The Fan have teamed up for the ultimate football face-off. Join us each week for football face-off events and your chance to win a trip to Vegas where you'll compete for the grand prize. A trip for 2 to New Orleans or the Super Bowl. Drink Bud Light, enjoy the games, and take your shot at football glory. This week, join me on Sunday at Donnericks on North High for the Browns-Eagles game. I'll be there from 2 to 4 p.m. to give you a shot at going to the Super Bowl.
People can't say enough amazing things about Vanscoy Hair Clinics. Men and women struggle with hair loss every day, and they completely change their lives. Vanscoy Hair Clinics is the only company in Ohio that has PRP, platelet-rich plasma, and a multi-unit hair grafting hair transplant procedure. Go to vanscoyhair.com for more info, or call 614-432-8042. Here's what some of their hair transplant clients have said.
Around 26, 27, I lost almost all of my hair on top. It changed my life in ways that I cannot imagine.
My hair is going to continue growing for the rest of my life. There is hope that you can do something about your hair loss.
Multi-unit hair grafting gives you 3 times more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Hair transplants are more affordable than ever, and PRP is a fast, easy, and effective 45-minute treatment for thinning or damaged hair. Call Vanscoy for a free consultation, 614-432-8042, or visit vanscoyhair.com. That's 614-432-8042. Find out what procedure will restore your hair.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Bo knows many people. He talks to the interesting ones on this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a football Friday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
Cole had asked me in a previous break if I wanted to feel old. And I said, well, Cole, almost every day I am reminded my age. I had a doctor tell me I had something called patellar tendonitis. And so that doesn't make you feel old. I don't know what does. But this morning, Cameron and Caden Boozer have announced their commitment to play college basketball at Duke. Cameron, the nation's number 2, and Caden, the nation's number 17th ranked prospects, are the twin sons of former NBA All-Star Carlos Boozer, who also played collegiately at Duke. Thing or not a thing?
Okay, so that makes you feel old?
Well, yeah, you know.
All right. I watched Carlos Boozer play in person in college at Duke. So, yeah, you feel old? Go to hell, Reese.
Yeah, Bo just still can't believe that Daryl Stingley's grandson is playing in the NFL. No, this is a huge thing. Now, I don't know how it works out.
They're great, right?
The two twins, very highly ranked. I don't get how one's 6'9" and the other is 6'4". Height's a big deal in my family, so if that were me, if I were the 6'9" brother, I would never, ever, ever let the 6'4" brother let that down. But this is a big deal. I hope they're good. And it's a cool little memory for those of us born of a certain generation.
I think it's remarkable what he has what Shire is doing in recruiting. Like, he's getting them all. He's getting them all. Like, they become the place, especially with Cal out at Kentucky. Like, he gets all of them.
We'll do some football recruiting here. As Rivals reported, Texas has flipped 2025 four-star wide receiver Dylan McCutcheon away from Florida State. The 5'11", 175-pound McCutcheon decommitted from FSU on Wednesday, then committed to the Longhorns on Thursday. He's ranked as the 96th overall prospect in the class of 2025. That's per 24/7 Sports. Right now, Texas has the 6th highest-ranked class in that cycle. Florida State, 52.
So
you're not a thing.
Here's why this is a thing. So what happened at Florida State is they went all in as much as you could last year because they knew they had a special team. But they can't every year go all in like that. So when you miss a year, this is what happens. This is why, honestly, Penn State is fine with James Franklin because they don't want to fall off a cliff. If you fall off a cliff, it is so hard to dig yourself up the side of the damn cliff. And that's where Florida State is now. This is going to happen over and over and over again. They're going to have to hit the portal. They're going to overextend again in the portal. And it's a vicious cycle to try and get out of. The last 8 months for them, last year for them, to go from what they were to what has happened, it's as big a fall as I can remember.
Yeah, this is a huge thing, and this is a team also that not only is dealing with many decommits right now, but has dealt with many of them leading up to last year's signing day. KJ Bolden, who was supposed to be their number one recruit, ended up at Georgia and was starting game one against Clemson. Now, that's because of an injury fill-in, but still. Yeah, I think if Florida State were just okay, maybe it wouldn't be this bad, but this is a big problem. And I got to think that these recruits are looking around like, how am I supposed to fix this? This probably isn't the place for me. So, yeah, they're a lot worse than they should be.
On Thursday, College Game Day, who's going to be at Eugene tomorrow, revealed that the celebrity guest picker will be Oregon Ducks alum and famous actress Caitlin Olsen, better known as Sweet D from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Olsen earned a bachelor's degree from the University of Oregon's College of Arts and Sciences back in 1997. This year's edition of College Game Day has Lee Corso aiming to improve to 6-0 on his headgear picks tomorrow. Thing or not a thing?
Well, the biggest thing of all of this is that ESPN is going to this game. These are not television partners of ESPN. This is not a game that is on ESPN. In fact, they are going to be competing. Herbie is going to be at this game, pumping up Ohio State and Oregon, and then he's going to call. Isn't he calling Ole Miss and LSU?
I believe so.
So he's going to have to fly from Eugene to Baton Rouge. I understand it's private, but nevertheless, he's going to have to fly.
Oh, no, they're Red River.
Oh, he's going. How the hell is he going to get there?
Plane? Train? Because McDonough.
Is there enough time to get from noon for a 3:30 kick? From Eugene to Austin? Or I'm sorry, to Dallas?
Holy cow.
I don't think that's possible. He's got to be doing
I'm sorry, Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit are doing the Red River Rivalry.
No, there's no way.
Oh, okay.
Chris Fowler and Herbie are doing Red River.
So I use a site called 506 Sports for
what
my
the hell type
reporting.
of jet does he have? I mean,
he's got that Taylor Swift jet that was.
That's
using
a
up
long
all those
ways,
fields.
dog.
Does he get up near the end of it and go? Like, does he not do the last
doing
hour?
Red River?
Well, they might as well because they have 8 people at that desk, so they're not going to miss him.
So I guess commercially, from Eugene to Dallas is 3 hours and 42 minutes.
He will show up with 8 minutes left in the first quarter.
That's crazy.
Who did Game Day? Who was Fowler's predecessor?
What do you mean?
Wasn't there somebody who was on before?
No, on Game Day
first.
or calling the
very first College Game Day guys was Corso, it was Fowler, and it was Craig James. They were the very first guys.
But they bring on Reese Davis?
Yeah.
Yeah, Reese, because Chris wanted to call games. I'm confused by this. This whole segment went to hell because I don't understand how you can get from Eugene to Dallas to call a game that kicks at 3:30 when you're done it. I mean, that's got to be right on it. That can't be less than 3 hours. That's a long ways.
I'll say this. Lee Corso going 6-0 in headgear is not a thing. However, Caitlin Olsen, big thing. I love that show. One of my favorite shows.
That show's great. Yeah, I think it's kind of the your guys' generation Seinfeld. Four great cast members, well written. I think that's what that show is, for sure. That blows my mind that you could get there. I don't know that that's... I'm going to have to talk to somebody in private aviation, what type of jet he's got that can get there with any amount of time to spare. Final hour on a Football Friday. Up next, we begin with knowing the scores. Reese off to a hot start. We got above the 500 mark as well. We'll get into that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The two most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants. The pervert and the skivvies. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
Men, this is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. It seems like everything we hear these days is about political races, and yet there's a far more important race that you run for yourself every day. It's the race to be the best that you can be. But if your libido is low, if your workouts aren't productive, if you've got brain fog and you're tired all the time, you may feel like you're losing that race, and maybe even that your best days are behind you. But the truth is that they're likely not, because if you're feeling like this, it's probable you're simply suffering from low testosterone, a condition that affects a huge percentage of men as we age. At Tri-State Men's Health, we're experts in treating low T. We've successfully treated thousands of men for the condition, and if you're like most guys, you'll start seeing results in just a few weeks. Better sleep patterns, higher energy, improved mental clarity, more productive workouts, and your libido will likely increase as well. So get back to winning your race by calling us. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
This year's starting lineup at Honda Marysville is as strong as ever, so come see us.
Choose from Ohio's largest selection of Hondas and get 0% for 60 on any new CR-V, HR-V, Passport Pilot, or Ridgeline with the trade.
Honda's built here, Honda's sold here. Honda Marysville. We're closer than you think.
0% with approved credit and 80% of MSRP financed. 2010 or newer trade with KBB appraisal at $2,500 or more. Must take delivery from dealer stock 10/31/24.
Get your game room game day ready with Billiards Plus.
Pool tables, shuffleboard tables, and games the whole family will enjoy.
Now's the time to get your name on a pool table before the holiday rush.
Plus top-of-the-line grills still in stock.
Shop Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Protect yourself, Ohio. Get your shots for COVID and flu today. A message from the Ohio Departments of Health and Aging.
We've seen it before. Politicians and lobbyists playing games, drawing voting maps to keep power in their hands, not ours. Courts have ruled Ohio's voting districts unconstitutional 7 times, while our communities have been left out again and again. But this November, you have a chance to change that with Issue 1. Issue 1 will make it illegal for politicians to manipulate voting districts for themselves or their own party. Instead, it creates an open, transparent process where a diverse group of citizens, not politicians, will draw the lines. No more backroom deals, no more gerrymandering, just fairer maps that represent our communities. Issue 1 gives you and me the power to ensure everyone's vote counts. This is about real change, a chance to end the games and make our voices heard. So vote yes on Issue 1, fair representation, and power to the people. Paid for by citizens, not politicians.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Number 2, Ohio State. Number 3, Oregon. Under the lights tomorrow night in Eugene. First time to Oregon for Ohio State since 1967. Buckeyes won that one 30-0 and lead the all-time series 9-1. We'll have live fan pregame coverage tomorrow morning starting at 10 a.m. On the field tonight, number 16, Utah's at Arizona State. Kickoff there is 10:30. Both teams 4-1 on the season. Cam Rising will start at quarterback for the Utes. He's missed the last month after injuring his throwing hand. In baseball, the Dodgers host the Padres tonight in Game 5 of the NLDS. Winner gets the Mets in the NLCS. The Guardians stayed alive last night with a 5-4 win over the Tigers in Game 4 of the ALDS. Cleveland's going to host Detroit tomorrow night in Game 5. Winner gets the Yankees in the ALCS. That starts on Monday. This update sponsored by Valley Ford of Columbus, Bronco, Explorer, Mustang Mach-E, and more. Ride into autumn with Valley Ford of Columbus.
Let's see. High school, Buckeyes, Browns, kids in the retention pond. It must be Football Friday.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Football is good. The Fan. Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Final hour here on a Football Friday. Doug Lesmerises, 11:33. James Crepea going to join us at 11:20 behind enemy lines. Wolfman Matt with this. Herbie doing the Eugene to Dallas is the modern-day feat of Phil Collins going from D.C. to London on the Concorde to play both Live Aids. He might need the Concorde. I don't know how he's going to get there. I think that's impossible for me to see how it's anywhere less than 3 hours. He did that. Fact. Yeah.
Wow.
Phil Collins was a musician. He was an English musician in the 80s. Cole, I know that there's much before your time, but he had several hits and was part of a band called Genesis. You perhaps heard the song In the Air Tonight.
Yep, he had a drum solo.
Yeah, he could do that a little bit. So there you go. This is a good one out of Tyler, too. With all the talk about how much the quarterbacks will possibly run the ball, is it in our best interest to show this part of our offense or possibly risk injury? Do we need this to beat the Ducks? The question is, no, I don't think you do. I don't. I think you're going to run the two backs, and I think you'll be fine. But I do think you will see, if we've run 40 to 50% of what we can be offensively, I think you'll see more closer to 80% of it in the game on Saturday night. All right, time to beat the house. Go, boys.
It's time for Know the Scores on Bishop and Friends.
I'm sorry. Know the scores. Beat the house was yesterday. Bad job out of me.
Against All Odds is a better song than In the Air Tonight anyway. Hey, both of you guys were winners last week. Bo, you were 6-5. Reeser, you were 7-4. Let's try to continue that momentum a little bit, and we'll start it off with some Saturday games. We'll go with the noon slate. Big Ten's longest rivalry, Washington and Iowa, of course. Iowa -3 in Kinnick. This is also big noon kickoff.
Yeah. So one thing in general, I noticed a lot of very small lines this week in the scores that we're picking. We try to pick the 10 coolest games or most important games to us. This one among them. I was not at all much impressed with what Iowa can do offensively. They're very much one-dimensional. Washington coming off a big win against Michigan, though. How do they rebound from that now, hitting the road to get to Iowa? I think this is a gross game. I like Iowa winning a slugfest, 17-13.
Caden McNamara hasn't thrown a touchdown against a Power 4 team since 2021 when he was a quarterback in Michigan. That continues on Saturday. Washington gets the win, 14-9. Iowa doesn't throw touchdowns. They kick field goals, unless they're playing second-teamers.
Another Big Ten nooner. This one's going to be on the network. Wisconsin at Rutgers. Rutgers -2.5 at home in Piscataway.
Oh, boy, I have no idea about either of these teams. But I think Rutgers gets the win, 30-28. Pay attention to the scores.
I'm going to go with Thick. Him and Shiano obviously know each other quite well from their time here. Wisconsin's kind of been hiding in the woods. A very disappointing start to the season. They've actually been better since they played without Van Dyke. I like Wisconsin winning this one at Rutgers outright. I cannot imagine, Luke, having to look Wisconsin boosters in the eye if you lose at Rutgers as well and get your third loss this early in the season.
There are a handful of teams in college football that really need to have a bounce-back week. Alabama's one of them. They are ranked 7th, and they are 21-point favorites at home against the Gamecocks.
Yeah, I think Bama wins the game. I just don't know if their defense can stop anybody. We saw that last week against Vanderbilt, and I think South Carolina will score some points as well. I think Bama's going to score a ton of points. I think Bama could be 42, 49, something like that. But I think South Carolina will keep it relatively close. So give me Bama 45, give me South Carolina 28.
Yeah, I think the important thing is here that Alabama's not going to cover the 21 points. I see it a little differently. Alabama 28, South Carolina 10.
Let's move on to the mid-afternoon slate. If he's there, Kirk Herbstreit will be calling the Red River Shootout.
He's going to teleport.
Exactly.
I don't know how it's possible.
I don't know, but we got number 1 versus number 15, Texas, Oklahoma, in Dallas at the Texas State Fair. Texas minus 14.5. Quinn Ewers is playing.
I mean, you can't call this a shootout, but I think that's what it's going to be. Give me Texas 44, Oklahoma 20.
Ooh. What was this? OU won this game last year.
Dylan Gabriel.
34-30 with Gabriel. Look, they hate each other. The alumni bases hate each other. There's recruiting at stake. Texas is the better team by a wide margin. I think you could argue they're the most impressive team in the country. I think they put it on OU. I like Texas winning this one 38-17.
Penn State is making the trip out west, and they are 3.5-point favorites in the Coliseum. They're playing USC.
Jeez.
Brad and Gary.
Can I really roll with James Franklin on anything?
No.
I mean, that's where I'm at. Can he handle his business once? They are the better team. They have what ails USC. And so let's revisit USC's one of their 2 losses. At Michigan. What did Michigan do? They didn't even try to throw it. They just ran it. And I think Penn State will be able to do the same. I like Penn State winning an ugly game 24-13.
Yeah, I see this as Penn State drags what USC wants to do down into the mud. 17-14, Nittany Lions got the win.
The opening act for...
Pay attention to the scores on that, kids.
No kidding. The opening act for Ohio State and Oregon will be Stanford and Notre Dame. It won't be nearly as exciting. Notre Dame is a 22.5-point favorite.
I like the Irish to win here. 22.5 is a lot, especially for the Irish. I like them winning, though, 31-17.
So... Yeah, I think I'm kind of with you. I like Notre Dame winning as well. I'm going to go 28-13 gets it done and keeps you underneath the cover. I think Stanford covers.
Just a little bit later in the afternoon, starting at 4 o'clock, it's going to be that game we talked about earlier. These 2 fan bases despise one another. Florida and Tennessee. Tennessee needs to bounce back. They're minus 14.5 at home.
Such a weird loss, and it was covered last week by the fact that that Alabama lost to Vandy, so nobody really noticed what Florida's all about. You wonder, has Florida been playing better of late? Yeah, slightly. They were decent in their game September 21st. They really put it on Mississippi State, and then they won against UCF last time out. That was last weekend at home. I think this one is a little bit more competitive than the final score would lead you to believe. I like Tennessee winning this one 31-17. Pay attention to the scores.
I got Tennessee 34-10. I think that it was a mistake by Josh Heupel for going easy on Oklahoma. I think if they bury Oklahoma, they're going in with a little bit more confidence against Arkansas. I think this is where he has actually malice for the team he's opposing in Florida. And I think they get torn apart by Tennessee.
Going up against Ohio State and Oregon will be the Magnolia Bowl. This game is a special place in my heart. I went to it last year, and I learned that I should have gone to an SEC college for obvious reasons. Ole Miss and LSU, of course. LSU is a 3.5-point home dog.
Some reason, I go gut if I sit here and go, with a lot of these, because I haven't done much knowing the scores, I go, all right, what's my gut say? My gut says Ole Miss, 24-20. I'm going with it.
Kiffin's got to have it. It's an elimination game for him. LSU's kind of sleeping in the woods a little bit. I'm just going to go with heart. You went gut. I'm going heart. I like Ole Miss winning a bit of a shootout, 37-28.
We will save the Bucks and Ducks for a little bit later. We will instead go to a 9 o'clock kick. This is going to be on Big Ten Network. Minnesota traveling all the way out to Hollywood to play UCLA, and they're going to be 3.5-point road favorites while doing so.
Can you imagine the folks at UCLA being like, dude, Big Ten, man. We're in the Big Ten Conference. I can't wait to see the teams that are coming in here. Big Ten's response, can we interest you in Indiana and Minnesota as your first home games in Big Ten play? Can you interest you in that? Is that something that you would like? Because that's what you're getting. I think Minnesota deserved better than it got against Michigan. I think they will be well coached. They will be prepared, and I think that they win in the Rose Bowl, which will be special for the folks of the Gopher fans to be able to play in the Rose Bowl. That'll be a special thing. I think they'll be geared up. I think there'll be a ton of Minnesota fans there. I like them winning this one relatively comfortably. We're going to go 24-14.
I like Minnesota 10-7 in this game. It's going to stink.
Scores.
Pay attention.
Pay attention
to them.
Pay attention. Reese, always on the edge. Always on the edge.
It stinks. Don't play it. Just cancel it.
We have been informed by Hanging Rock Police Department on YouTube that Kirk Herbstreit's leaving 1 hour early from College game day.
Okay,
so
thank
there you go.
Of course he was. There's no way.
I know.
He has to be. Of course. I mean, it made no sense. Yes, and even that's going to be tight.
Yeah.
That'll be tight. That'll get him there at 2 o'clock.
We got one more in the late night. Big 12 matchup. Kansas State, 3.5-point favorites on the road heading to Boulder.
This is going to be one of those where you wake up Sunday morning and be like, what the hell happened?
That's exactly
I think an overtime thriller is what you're going to find at Folsom. Kansas State getting the 33-30 win in OT. Pay attention to the scores.
You're on it a lot. Let's see. I got to take a look at this Kansas State thing. So they've actually been pretty good. That's a weird loss they had to BYU, where they got drilled by BYU. I'm with you. This screams shootout. I'm not sure who could win, but all I really need is CU to lose by a field goal or better. So I'm going to go hard here as well because I like the story. I'm going to go CU winning 41-38, but I think it'll be a field goal game and a shootout that we all wake up to in this one. All right, coming up next, we go behind enemy lines with the Oregon Ducks. James Crepea going to join us, Ohioan, and writes for the Oregonian on the Ducks side of things. We'll figure out exactly what the path is and what this home game means to Oregon fans to get to host Ohio State in their second Big Ten game. That's coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
In his campaign ads, Sherrod Brown thinks everything's pretty funny. But it's not when you look at his voting record. Brown voted to allow transgender biological males to compete in girls' sports. Unfair and dangerous. Brown introduced a bill letting transgender biological men into girls' locker rooms and girls' bathrooms. That's just not right. And Brown supported allowing puberty blockers and sex change surgery for children. Migrants are flooding into Ohio, but Brown voted for government handouts to illegal immigrants and voted 10 times to protect sanctuary cities that release dangerous illegal immigrant criminals onto Ohio's streets. Sorry, Sherrod, your seriously bad votes are no joke. And Ohio doesn't think it's funny. Sherrod Brown has let us down. He's way too liberal for Ohio. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Hey, Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived. The only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com, and use promo code JUSTSPORTS to get a welcome bonus up to $100. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The time to save big is now. It's Ford Truck Month at your local Ford dealer, and the time to buy is now. Make way for great offers across an amazing lineup of Ford trucks, featuring the built Ford Tough F-150 and Super Duty. Check out the versatile Ford Maverick and the capable Ford Ranger. But you can't wait. These limited Truck Month deals won't last. Check it all out at buyfordnow.com. Then get over to your local Ford dealer today. Hurry in, as these deals won't last long.
Common Man and T-Bone.
I hate everyone.
Who do you like on TV right now?
I like people who aren't on TV, who just take their money and go away. That's what I like.
Common Man and T-Bone.
Sponsored by the Hinderer Motor Company.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on The Fan.
Hello.
I am a serious announcer hired to deliver a serious announcement. Get an Apex Pros winter tune-up for your furnace right now for only $29. Notice we are simply giving you the facts. Just $29 to make sure your furnace is ready for the upcoming Ohio winter. We know how you enjoy our usual fun and funny commercials. Hello? Beg pardon? Well, I see no reason to bring my mother into this. Good day to you, sir. Where was I? Oh, yes. A $29 tune-up will make sure your furnace runs safely and warmly all winter. That's serious. I'm serious. That's why we're not doing the usual that you've come to expect from Apex Pros. None of this or this nonsense. $29 for a furnace tune-up from Apex Pros. The pros who knows? Knows? Is that really how you say it? The pros who
Apex Pros, the official plumber of the Columbus Blue Jackets. ApexPros.com.
Listen to Sherrod Brown. When he wanted your vote.
On major issues, I'll stand up to the president of my own party.
But Sherrod Brown doesn't stand up to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. He votes with them 97% of the time. Brown supported Biden and Harris on radical issues like amnesty for 11 million illegal immigrants. Brown voted to give nearly $1 billion in COVID stimulus checks to convicted criminals in prison, even the Boston Marathon bomber. And Brown voted to give taxpayer-funded health care to illegals who get amnesty and Social Security benefits, too. So the next time Sherrod Brown tells you,
I'll stand up to the president of my own party.
Ignore it. Because 31 years in Washington has changed Sherrod Brown. He's not for us anymore. And he's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.americancrossroads.org.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Happy Friday. Time to get a look at that weekend weather report. Heading into your afternoon today, we've got your sunshine. It is warmer with a high of 73. And if you think today is mild, just wait until Saturday, as we'll be looking at highs around 80. We will see increasing clouds on Saturday with a few showers Saturday night. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Your morning just got beefier. Morning Juice with Beamer, Bobby, and Shark.
Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
On a Football Friday, we go behind enemy lines to learn a little bit more about the Ducks in this matchup on Saturday. And when we do so, we prefer to do so with James Crepea, the Oregonian, covering the Ducks there, and a Buckeye graduate, of course. This one has been a long time coming, Bud. This was supposed to be in 2020. They were supposed to play this game. COVID wiped it out. You finally get it in the Big Ten play here in 2024. From your perspective, as someone who went to school here and has been out there covering that program for a long time and knowing what went into Oregon being a member of the Big Ten, this all coming home to roost on Saturday, what has it been like to you to go all the way through it?
Yeah, like I said, it's been long overdue. For certainly this fan base. I mean, they and this athletic department, quite frankly. I mean, to this day, you ask folks about the 2020 season and what was missed here, and believe me, there are still many who bemoan just in terms of this was setting up. You realize it's years ago, and then obviously there was plenty of other things going on in the world at the time, but. No, I mean, that football slate that season, in terms of a home schedule, was setting up to be the best in school history. They were opening the season with North Dakota State. Ohio State was, week 2. Hawaii was week 3. They had Washington at home that season. As far as, for a home ticket out here, that was going to be about as good as it got. And, yes, it was one of the many things lost amid the COVID season and everything else. And then, you have the trip to Ohio State the following year. The scheduling of a non-conference series off into the 2030s, which, of course, is now a moot point. But, yeah, for a fan base that had very much been looking forward to this kind of a matchup then. And then with the move to the Big Ten, this is exactly one of them, one of those premier matchups that they were hoping for and looking forward to, and they get it right out the chute in year one and in a matchup that was designed for both teams to be 5-0 and for this to be the clash that it is. And lo and behold, that everybody holds serve and takes care of business. So, yes, it is that caliber of matchup, as we all know, and one that this fan base most certainly was really clamoring for and looking forward to for quite some time. And, yes, it should obviously be a pretty electric atmosphere at Autzen tomorrow night.
I remember talking to you a couple of years ago when they were in the midst of trying to make sure, and the case I always made here was, look, you got to give USC and UCLA dance partners. The obvious ones are Oregon and Washington. In terms of this finally coming to fruition, who were the folks, and how important, I guess maybe the better way to phrase this is, how important was it for the folks at Oregon to get into the Big Ten? Because, James, my perception was that Oregon was pushing it far more so than even Washington. Does that meet reality?
Yeah, from what I was able to gather, certainly along the way. And again, once the LAs went, to me it was always an eventuality. It was just a matter of when, for Oregon and Washington specifically, because of all the circumstances around it. Whether the Pac-12 would have been able to somehow, some way hold it all together, and put together a rights deal that, forget about the Apple deal. That was the 11th hour where everything fell apart. Mm-hmm. Before Colorado left, to ultimately set off all the rest of the dominoes. Even if they held on, it would have been the shorter-term deal. We would have done this in the 2030s, much like we're talking about with the ACC potentially or something. So it was an eventuality to me in terms of, yes, was there a significant portion of fans and most definitely some very prominent people who wanted it to be a very quick eventuality? Yeah. Yeah. And obviously I think a lot of the things that ultimately transpired in the final days and weeks of the Pac-12 were people who wanted to see this happen for this institution specifically, but they didn't act alone. Obviously, they were not the only party to the whole thing, but ultimately, who were some of those people? Phil Knight was most definitely one of them. He was most definitely looking out for the interests of this institution. But having said that, again, they're not alone. Look, the folks at Colorado had a significant factor in terms of their own destinations, and once they made the move that they did, well, then there was no future for the Pac-12. To say nothing of their fine broadcast partners at Fox, who I think ultimately were the major party of the whole thing. Yeah. Because, look, if Colorado doesn't go and then Fox doesn't pull out, and so who prompted who? But if you've read some of the stories, not just on Real Time at the time, but ultimately some of the stories in the time since, my buddy John Talpe and then Armin Katayan in their book most recently, that's out in the last month or so. They go over a few things and conversations that were had with now, I think, then Arizona president, or soon stepping down Arizona president, Robert Robbins, and conversations between him and Phil Knight at the time, where you saw, yes, that perhaps there was a bit of pressure put on to get some what might have seemed to be outlandish numbers. And one was asked, well, then if you're asking for something outlandish, well, then what is your real motivation? So, yes, ultimately there were certainly folks who were very, very determined for this to be the destination, and for good reason, again, because these are the kind of matchups not only for football, but, we're talking about it because it's football season, guys, but the caliber of basketball matchups that's going to happen out here by comparison to what they were is significant.
James Crepea, our guest, the Oregonian, joining on the Brian Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Dan Lanning, Alabama, says, hey, come, keys to the kingdom, let's go. He stays. He is this is such a ready-made roster. They're so ready to go. They go get Gabriel, all of it. Does he need it Saturday night? Because I was looking for like a signature win from him. And does it feel like there is one yet?
Yeah, so from that perspective, need it in the sense of, look, Dan's not going to suddenly be on the hot seat tomorrow or something. His contract is guaranteed. So from that perspective, no. And obviously, again, no matter what happens for either team tomorrow, I think we can all foresee the distinct possibility that there is a rematch in Indianapolis, in the not too distant future. So, having said that, no, not from the sky is falling perspective. However, this fan base, much like the fan base that I have the opportunity to speak with you folks this morning, after a loss, particularly a loss at a certain magnitude, gosh, rationality seems to go out the window a little bit. Look, when those losses so far in the 2.5 seasons have been to Washington 3 times, all competitive games, but to Washington 3 times, and you're 0-3 there, and then to an Oregon State team 2 years ago, which took a fourth quarter collapse of epic proportions. That didn't go over great. Forget about the first one in Georgia, and they're coming off a championship. You put that totally aside. When the losses are to rivals, and to say nothing of the Georgia one, quite frankly, because that's another massive game, albeit they were a far more talented team. You do have that. Now, you could say, what is the signature win to date? I'd argue so far that it was the trip to Utah last season. Now, Utah didn't end up being a Utah team of lore. They were not, rising's herd, all those things. But in terms of somebody had to be the one to go there first and snap their home win streak that went for forever and really take it to them, and Oregon did. Now, again, having said that, were they an elite Utah team? No, they were not. But that is a pit to play in, and good, bad, or otherwise. Again, somebody had to be the first one over the wall to derail them at Rice Eccles, which is not an easy thing to do. But that pales in comparison to beating a juggernaut such as this, or beating Washington when they're particularly good, or earning a spot in a conference title game, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this would most definitely be the signature win of the era. Does he need one of those, particularly from I think, national narrative perspective? Yes. Yeah. But if that comes tomorrow versus if that comes in December, I'm not sure that it matters all that much. I think this fan base just wants get to the playoff and do some damage, and however which way you got there, they may be willing to forgive a few things as long as they get to December and make some noise.
Got about 30 seconds here, Bud. Always have a very good read on this. You had a very good read on the game that was here in 2021. I remember it well. What is your read on this one tomorrow?
Well, I thought I had a decent read of the game in 21. I did pick Ohio State at that time, so it wasn't like I called for the upset, especially with Thibodeau out. But for this one, no, I think this is going to be a battle and clash of defenses. I've got respect for both of them at a high level. For as much weaponry as they each have on offense, obviously they've not been tested by defenses of this caliber on either side just yet. So I do think it's going to be really competitive back and forth. I don't think it's going to be a track meet. I think it's going to be more in the higher 20s, and I've had it all week as Ohio State having the edge 31-28, could be down to a last possession kind of a thing. But I think this is going to live up to the billing. But I don't think it's going to be a track meet. I think it's going to be some really, really, really good defensive play with some fine offense, but just not a game that's going to be played in the 40s.
And we'll probably do it again, would be my bet, and my hunch is yours as well. Great talking to you, my friend. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys.
All right, James Crepea, the Oregonian, joining us on the Bryan Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. For the other side of it and the national side of it, Doug Lesmerises coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
1, 2, 3. The Daily Coach Ryan Day Show is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
This is a Daily Show with Coach Ryan Day, brought to you by Safelite Auto Glass. As you get ready to go out to Oregon and making such a long trip, you've talked about the importance, Coach, about how you want to make this as close as possible to a regular road trip.
It is a regular road trip. Yeah, that's the way we look at it. And just a couple more hours in the plane, that's it. So everything else we'll stay on Buckeye time and wake up our normal time and go through the same routine.
Okay, we'll have another comment in just a moment. Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at Safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
At Ohio State, We are the never afraid to innovate teams. The agile, get it done teams. The achieve more together teams. And the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University.
Learn more about Ohio State at osu.edu/impact.
You're listening to the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State athletics.
Coach, we know it because we get to travel with you, but if you would just talk about the staff that you have that handles all of the travel arrangements, all of the hotel arrangements, and all of the routines you have to go through when you're away from home.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes with it. We have a big travel party, and longer trip like this, it takes a little bit more organization. We're getting out there a little bit earlier on Friday, but there's so much that goes with it. It starts with all the equipment getting sent out there, and Kevin Reese, and making sure that the semis get out there and we have everything we need that way, and then it's the organization on this end of the buses. The flights, the buses when we land, the meals. So there's a lot that goes with it. And then obviously on the back end, getting back here. So, our operations folks do a great job and everything. Everyone has to do their part. It takes everybody in the program to go get a win like this.
Okay, this is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
What do football and finances have in common? The team you play with makes a big difference. Credit Union of Ohio is your financial team to help you save and spend like a winner. Whether you're looking to make a big purchase or find ways to build up your savings, you'll always work with a team player at Credit Union of Ohio. Navigate your next big money play easily through Credit Union of Ohio's website at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations, in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Trust Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code Columbus now for 10% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code Columbus. Trust and Will is an online service providing legal forms and information. It is not a law firm and is not a substitute for the advice of an attorney.
Hey, Buckeye fans! As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 2 trips to a Buckeye postseason game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
After putting up with Dom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these 2. This is Bishop and Friends.
It's 11:33 on a Friday. We like to talk to Doug Lesmerises, Kings of the North. Joining on the Brian Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. All right, buddy, as defender of the North, when you see Alabama lose to Vandy and you see Tennessee lose to Arkansas and you saw Ole Miss lose at home to Kentucky before that and you see them drop to 7, 8, and 9 is all in the polls, does that give you cause for concern?
Oh, yeah. There's no reason those teams should be ranked ahead of Iowa State. There's no reason those teams should be ranked ahead of BYU, who's undefeated and has 2 top 25 wins against Kansas State and SMU. I don't know that they should be ranked ahead of Pitt, who has real wins over West Virginia and Cincinnati, and I'm not sure they should be ranked ahead of Indiana. So I've been comparing those 4 undefeated Northern teams to these fraudulent one-loss SEC teams, and it does give me pause. Like, it's early. I'm not freaking out yet, but – I mean, you go through it. Ole Miss has beaten like nobody. Right? And it's just, and actually, like, Texas A&M is like lower than those teams you just mentioned. They probably might have the best resume of those, but like, it's nonsensical. Tennessee has blown people out. Their best win was over NC State. NC State turns out to stink. Like there's a lot of fraudulent stuff there. And the thing that I'm soothed by is that I do think the committee does not think like the pollsters do. By the end of the year, the polls and the committee rankings look the same because the pollsters adjust to the committee after the committee rankings come out. So I am going to be super interested in the committee rankings, but like I don't think the committee would have Ole Miss ahead of Iowa State right now, right? So that's my hope.
Yeah, I have a great deal of concern for it because I think they kind of telegraphed all of this over the summer with their 9-3 better than your 11-1. So I think that's kind of what all of this is about. I do think that while they were not punished that much in the polls, their margin for error when you can't 9-3 and one of them's a loss at Vandy, that ain't going to work. So you're going to lose to Georgia, fine. You're going to lose to Texas, fine. Okay. But a loss to Vandy can't be one of your three. So to me, Bama can lose one more, and that's it. I think Tennessee's in a similar spot. They can lose one more, and that's it. I do think it's an elimination game between Ole Miss and LSU this weekend. Whoever loses that, I don't want to hear from again. Like, get the hell out of here. You're done.
I love the venom in your voice. I love it.
Yeah, it bugged me, man. It bugged me. I think that's really tricky to do that, and I know that committee is swayed by the polls, so I'm not pleased by what happened there.
Go look at Iowa State's resume. Go watch Iowa State play football. They're so legit. They have a huge game with West Virginia this weekend, but I think Ole Miss is going to go into Tiger Stadium and get the doors blown off by LSU this week. I have no idea why LSU is a home dog in that monster pit against again an Ole Miss team that I think is absolute puffery. There is all that is off-season transfer portal mumbo jumbo. There's nothing there. So I do think, and yeah, I mean, I said Joe Klatt said it on a show this week. Apparently, I said it in August that I thought Alabama would beat Georgia and miss the playoff because it's going to get real for Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer is going to find out what this deal is. Tennessee, LSU, some real games coming up for Bama, like some road trips. So I'm hoping. We put out the way Northern fans should think of Southern football. The number one thing is root for chaos, brother. Root for chaos.
In terms of what happens mostly around here, we finally get a game, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what to. I know that this team is supremely talented. My hunch is they've played with about 50% of what they can be offensively. My hunch is you'll see a much bigger percentage tomorrow night in Eugene. But from the Oregon side of it, Dan Lanning needs to win one of these at some point, doesn't he, Doug?
Yeah, I mean, you go through I think he's 18-0 against unranked teams and 7-5 against ranked teams, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, they lost to their rival twice last year against Washington. The main thing for Columbus audience and Ohio State fans is don't underestimate Oregon. It does not do you any good to think your opponent who is ranked third in the country stinks. On our show this week, we were getting questions like, is Oregon Penn State? And I think from an Ohio State fan perspective, that's not a compliment. That's hey, they're good, but they can't really hang with the Buckeyes because that's what Penn State has been in the Franklin era. And I'm just telling you, I actually think these two teams are very similar in a lot of ways. They both have backs who can break tackles. They both they don't throw deep very much, but they have explosive plays on short throws in the passing game. They both have disruptive defensive tackles. They both have maybe some questions in the middle of the offensive line. Oregon's good. So please, for Ohio State fans, don't – because all you do is you take away a great win if they win. Oregon wasn't that good. They are really good. Now, in the Boise game, they played a monster, man. Ashton Jeanty might win the Heisman. They had a huge problem in the middle of the offensive line that they fixed. So they're better than they were in the first 2 weeks, and they are talented. Are they as talented as Ohio State? Nobody's as talented as Ohio State. But this is a real test, and it's the biggest game in the history of that stadium. And I do think Oregon's going to be ready. I think Dan Lanning's pretty good at this. I think Ryan Day's pretty good at this. I think it's almost a toss-up between similar teams, and both are more defensive-minded than you would think. But please don't think Oregon's a fraud.
No, they're not a fraud at all. No, they could go toe-to-toe with Ohio State at receiver. They can go toe-to-toe with Ohio State at quarterback, some of the other positions around. My hunch is the way this goes and what Chip's going to want to do is bludgeon Oregon to death, and it'll be those two backs and Will running it. I think that's what they're going to be. For Oregon, like to me, there's a couple of roadmaps for Ohio State to win. For me, for Oregon, if they can't stop the Buckeye ground attack, and you mentioned Genty and the job that he did against them, then I don't see a path. I think it has to start there for Oregon. Doug, what do you make of that matchup?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly right. And you have such a comparison in the Genty game, and Quinshon Judkins is not a bad comparison for Ashton Genty. And I've rewatched that Boise Oregon game a couple times, and they were in spots. You know, there was a play where a defensive tackle penetrated and hit Genty 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and he broke the tackle and ran for 35 yards. So there was a decent chunk of that was just absolute singular performance by probably the best running back in the country. So it's not just like, oh, Oregon can't stop the run. I'm not sure anybody would have stopped Ashton Genty that night. But there were other times where they weren't in their gaps. And I think their linebackers are decent, not great. I do think Oregon's good at defensive tackle. They have a real game wrecker, I think, on the edge with Jordan Birch. And I think, their number one corner is very good for sure. Their other corner's a little iffy, but I think they can run. And I think there's been some conversation, who has the better offensive line? Coming into the year, you absolutely would have said Oregon's offensive line is better.
Yeah.
The way they've played, that's not the case anymore. I think it's pretty even. I think you could make a case for Ohio State, but I've been very impressed with the way the Ohio State offensive line is getting to the second level, is making combo blocks. Like, they're on their P's and Q's, man, and this might be a chance to show it.
Do you believe Will Howard, if he has the ball in his hands with 3 or 4 minutes to go, 2 or 3 minutes to go, and they're down a score, do you have confidence that he can go drive the Buckeyes to a win? In other words, can he throw it? Can Ohio State throw it when everybody in the building knows you're throwing it?
Very much possible that one of these quarterbacks is going to have to pass the Stetson Bennett test, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the Georgia drive at the end of the semifinal. Can you do that? I do think Will Howard can do that. Am I sure that he would do it in this game in a maniacal stadium in the biggest game he's played for Ohio State? And he's been in big games. He won a Big 12 championship game at Kansas State, but he hasn't been in a game like this for this team.
Mm-mm.
And am I sure he would do it Saturday? No. But then I think the rest of the year would be, oh, okay, that's what that was. Give me another shot. Mm-hmm. I do think there might be a little bit of, for him, this spot, this moment for this team, a little bit of a learning environment here. So I wouldn't say if it doesn't happen, that means he can't do it. But I am not underestimating how nuts it might be there. And it's not a gigantic stadium, but maybe sometimes that's better. Like, it's smaller and a little more confined, and like, they're going to get after you. They've literally never had a game like this. So I'm super curious to see it. But again, we saw Kyle McCord do it in September last year. He drove him down the field to beat Notre Dame. And then what did that tell us? Well, it didn't tell us that he was a national championship quarterback. So sometimes what happens in the first half of the year is not definitive.
I got 30 seconds, buddy. I'll get you out of here on this one. How do you see it going?
I picked Oregon. I think I'm the only person in the country, literally. I've not found another person that picked Oregon. Nobody's picking Oregon. I don't want to make an excuse to an Ohio State audience about it. It doesn't mean I think Ohio State is not better than Oregon. I do think Ohio State's better. I would pick Ohio State in Ohio Stadium. I would pick Ohio State on a neutral field. I'm taking a little bit of the travel into consideration. I'm taking Oregon playing its best game in its biggest game, and maybe a little bit of adjustment for Will Howard. So I have a one-score game, but I think you get the best version of Oregon and maybe a little bit of a learning moment for Ohio State. And it's hard to go undefeated. I still think Ohio State's going to win the national championship. I just don't think they're going to do it with a 0 at the end of their record.
You're the best, buddy. Kings of the North. Check it out. Good to talk to you every single Friday, my friend.
Thanks, man. Always fun.
All right, Doug Lesmerises, Kings of the North, joining on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. 3 things to a Buckeye victory. Up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Wake up with The Fan. Eat lunch with The Fan. Go to bed with The Fan. Dream about The Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
Listen to Sherrod Brown. When he wanted your vote,
On major issues, I'll stand up to the president of my own party.
But Sherrod Brown doesn't stand up to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. He votes with them 97% of the time. Brown supported Biden and Harris on radical issues like amnesty for 11 million illegal immigrants. Brown voted to give nearly $1 billion in COVID stimulus checks to convicted criminals in prison, even the Boston Marathon bomber. And Brown voted to give taxpayer-funded health care to illegals who get amnesty, and Social Security benefits, too. So the next time Sherrod Brown tells you,
I'll stand up to the president of my own party,
ignore it. Because 31 years in Washington has changed Sherrod Brown. He's not for us anymore, and he's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.americancrossroads.org.
Come into your local AAA Car Care Plus and save up to $160 on select sets of Ford Nokian tires. Only at AAA Car Care Plus locations. And on the plus side, AAA members save more. Offer ends October 31st. See store for details.
It's Rocktober, baby!
It's Rocktober at Lindsay Honda.
Save with 1.9% financing up to 60 months on every new Lindsay Honda, combined with the Lindsay Difference Package. A value of $1,295 included with every vehicle purchase. We're about going the extra mile to provide you with these unique benefits. Turn up the noise with Lindsay Honda.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference.
With approved credit on select in-stock 24-25 Honda models. Dealer contribution may affect consumer cost.
Get your game room game day ready with Billiards Plus.
Pool tables, shuffleboard tables, and games the whole family will enjoy.
Now's the time to get your name on a pool table before the holiday rush.
Plus top-of-the-line grills still in stock.
Shop Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Remember how that little girl in Poltergeist was in the TV?
They're here.
Yeah? Well, she's actually dead now. It's quite sad. Anyway, watch your favorite fan shows on your TV by subscribing to us on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan. Do it now.
Ready to hit the road in a new car? With Pathways, enjoy up to 90 days with no payments and low auto loan rates. Learn more at pathwayscu.com. Pathways Financial Credit Union, your true financial partner. Federally insured by NCUA.
Protect yourself, Ohio. Get your shots for COVID and flu today. A message from the Ohio Departments of Health and Aging.
They're trained. They're prepared.
Let's do it.
They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with the sound of freshness, the sound of sizzle, the sound of savings. With new low prices on hundreds of your favorite produce items, deals for days on over 1,000 items throughout the store, plus weekly sales and My Perks for even more savings at the pump. Surround yourself with savings every time you shop. At your neighborhood Giant Eagle. Visit gianteagle.com for details.
Busy schedule? This is Ryan Krieger, and Krieger Ford has you covered. Krieger Ford offers pickup and delivery, or our mobile service van will come right to you. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Schedule your appointment today only at KriegerFord.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Accurate Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, Reese, what do we have on the poll?
The Daily Fan poll asks, who wins tomorrow's game in Eugene? Bucks and Ducks are your options. 91% of you say Ohio State's getting the win over Oregon. 9% of you are with Doug Lesmerises.
There you go. 3 things for a Buckeye victory. Hit it, fellas.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
Number one for me, the more I think about this matchup, the more I think about Dillon Gabriel and his propensity to throw it to the other team. Their receivers are legit. He is completing 78% of his passes. It's an astronomical number. The crazy thing about it, though, is I think the Buckeye secondary will be the best one that he goes up against all year. I think, if anything, we're sleeping on how talented they are. I think that their ability to play clean, and what I mean by that is when there are these balls that are out quick from Gabriel to these receivers, wrap up, get them on the ground, and then eventually, when he decides to throw one your way, if it's an out Denzel Burke, jump it. Igbinosun, jump it. Get it picked the other way. I think there's something there where Ohio State could take advantage. He's really good, really accurate. I think the Buckeye secondary is going to be tested. I think they're going to be up to the test.
Yeah, Dillon Gabriel, and I'll piggyback off of that, is a guy that won the Red River, can't call it a shootout last year, over Texas. Texas right now the number one team in the country, so he's going to get his. I think it's important for Ohio State up front to maintain, contain, especially with an RPO style that Oregon would like to have successful both on the ground and in the air. I think as long as you're able to make it very frustrating for Dillon Gabriel, but not let him get outside of you, this is a big game for Tyleik Williams. I think it becomes a big game if he has that for JTT and for Jack Sawyer on the edges to make their presence known.
And since we're all talking about it, I will as well. I think you got to pressure Dillon Gabriel because I think that helps out your secondary. I think Dillon Gabriel's a guy, well, I know he's a guy who has a lot of experience, and I think he's going to be a guy who, because of that experience, probably isn't going to run himself into trouble throwing the football. You got to force him to make bad decisions. You got to make him play desperately and maybe take some risks he otherwise wouldn't want to. And the pressure up front from Jack Sawyer, from JTT, I think those are the guys who got to have a big game and really help out the secondary.
Number two for me, I was looking at the Boise State game, and it was about a little less than 230 yards that Oregon's gave up to Boise State on the ground. I want to circle in on that number because I do think you are going to see blunt force trauma. You're going to see physical, both hands out from behind our back, punch you in the mouth offense from Ohio State, and I think they're going to run it right at the Ducks. The Ducks will be able to provide some resistance, but I think it's going to be one of those things where just stick with it. So the number I'm looking for, and I think if they get there, it's going to be hard for Ohio State not to win, is 225 combined rush yards with Q and Trey. You can throw Peoples in there as well. If you get to that 225 number, I feel very good about what Ohio State is going to do. So think about 225 team rushing yards for the Buckeyes. That includes Howard as well. If they get there, it's hard for me to imagine them losing the game on Saturday night.
It's interesting. I'm looking at the front page of ESPN.com, and there's a article from our friend Jake Trotter. So much innovation. Ryan Day and Chip Kelly have been scheming for decades. And I think they put it on display tomorrow night. Look, this is the closest game probably for Emeka Egbuka, where he's from in Washington. Similarly with JTT. Yeah. And I think they find ways to get him involved more so than just down the field. I think you've seen it through a couple of weeks, but it's only been, 40% of the battle station's overall capacity. I think he's a big part in what they unveil tomorrow in Eugene. He has a big day. I think 2 touchdowns for Egbuka. 1 on the ground, 1 receiving, but a lot of yak for him.
Score first. I imagine going into the biggest test, the biggest environment that you've had this season, really one unlike anything you've seen. If you get down 7-0 early and you're looking up at that scoreboard, that probably doesn't feel good. Help yourself out. Score first.
I think this is why and finally for me, this is why you brought in Will Howard. You brought in Will Howard for games like this. You brought in him because you did not want to go to Eugene with somebody who had never started in a game of that magnitude before. So this is why you brought him in. There will be a drive at the end of the first half, at the end of the game, where he needs to go deliver and make throws with pressure and people at his feet and people in his face, be accurate, get it to those incredibly talented receivers, Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka. I think he will, but I think this is the Will Howard game. This is his first test as the Buckeye quarterback. This game is why he is here, and I think if he plays well, and most especially clean, you'll be all right on Saturday night.
Third and final thing for me, you're going to establish the line of scrimmage, and you're going to want to if you're Ohio State, especially on the offensive side of the ball. You've talked about how good Oregon's front seven are. This is going to be a game where Dan Lanning brought the SEC and their physicality to Eugene. Ohio State's going to bring a similar feel tomorrow night against the Ducks. I think this is exactly, and you heard from Will Howard, that he wants to get hit, but he wants to deliver said hit. I think that's a trickle-down effect from the quarterback to your offensive line, even to your wide receivers, like with Emeka Egbuka doing the dirty work on plays that don't get a lot of ballyhoo, but it's that physicality that Ohio State's going to want to show early and often against Oregon tomorrow night shows out.
I actually want to see Ryan Day coach like he would against anybody else. And what I mean by that, particularly on fourth down, they've shown a lot of confidence taking the field. Even in surefire field goal situations, they're looking for touchdowns. They've done that up to this point in the season. I don't want to see them deviate because that's going to send a bad signal to all of the fans out there who've been watching them go for it on fourth down that he's a little bit timid about this game. I don't want to see that. I want to see them going for it on fourth and short.
And how do you see it, my friend?
I would not have said this in the preseason because I thought Oregon was going to be better than they are, but they're going to be under my microscope. I got OSU 30, Oregon 24.
I think this comes down to a final drive, but I think it's number one for Ohio State that puts himself into Buckeye lore with what he's able to do at Autzen Stadium in Eugene. Quinshon Judkins makes this late a 24-17 win for the visiting team.
We all see it very similarly. The last time NBC had a game of this magnitude, it was Florida State and Notre Dame in '93. It ended 31-24 with a Charlie Ward pass falling short of the end zone in South Bend. I think similar here. We're going to go a little bit of symmetry. I like Buckeyes winning 31-24 in Eugene. The Buckeye defense bowing up late. I do think these two teams will hook up again because I think both of them are very, very good. Rothman and Ice up next. We're back Monday to break it all down. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Question from a listener. Do you dopes ever get tired of talking about Ohio State? No. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
Download the Prime Sports Ohio app today or visit primesportsbook.com and use the promo code JUSTSPORTS for a welcome bonus of up to $100. Your current national championship odds, the Buckeyes are the favorite at plus 290, Texas and Georgia second at plus 450, then Alabama's plus 650. Oregon is 10-1 to win it all. For your Prime Sports Action Update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
This year's starting lineup at Honda Marysville is as strong as ever, so come see us.
Choose from Ohio's largest selection of Hondas and get 0% for 60 on any new CRV, HRV, Passport Pilot, or Ridgeline with a trade.
Honda's built here, Honda's sold here. Honda Marysville. We're closer than you think.
0% with approved credit and 80% of MSRP financed. 2010 or newer trade with KBB appraisal at $2,500 or more. Must take delivery from dealer stock 10/31/24.
At Roof Revivers, we save not only your roof, but your money too. Whether you need a quick repair or a full replacement, we've got you covered. While many companies jump straight to replacements, we always start with repairs. Replacements, that's our last resort. We'll provide a clear, detailed explanation of what your roof needs, complete with photos, so you know exactly why. With over 350 five-star reviews on Google, honesty is at the heart of everything we do. Roof Revivers is ready to work for you. Visit roofrevivers.com today. Roof Revivers, we fix leaky roofs.
Columbus, the wait is over. Blue Jackets hockey is back. Come feel the boom all season long. Be here Tuesday, October 15th for the home opener, presented by Nationwide. Get your tickets today at bluejackets.com.
Tire Discounters announces our latest breakthrough, TD Chat BS. This software allows us to detect untruths, deceptions, and even outright lies. Let's listen in as we call a local car dealer.
Hi, I drive your model of auto or truck. I need servicing.
Oh, that's great. You should always call the dealer for service to make sure your warranty stays intact.
Untruth.
Excuse me?
I can attend at Tire Discounters for all services, even for all manufacturers' scheduled maintenance. Warranty not affected.
But it's only us dealers who really know our own models.
Deception. Tire Discounters technicians are certified experts for all makes and models.
Okay, maybe.
How many dollars do you charge me for? As few as Tire Discounters?
We are not that much more.
Outright lie. Ending call now. Bye. Adios. Aloha. Hasta la pasta.
Right now, save up to $250 on Cooper tires, and Shocks and Struts are buy 3, get 1 free.
High Bank Distillery is giving away free burgers for a year. Stop by any of High Bank's 3 locations October 14th through the 19th and try their $8 burgers. Upload your burger pic to social media, tag High Bank for a chance to win. Visit highbankco.com/battle for more details.
It's football season, and Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for all the action on the gridiron. With a game-changing rewards program, plus an amazing selection of tickets, Vivid Seats ensures that every fan can catch their favorite teams and players in action. Vivid Seats has you covered with deals that cater to every football enthusiast. And all tickets come back by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Just visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Are you ready to build your company's dream team? Just like in sports, finding skilled players is essential for success. With Robert Half's winning combination of specialized recruiting professionals and award-winning AI, we'll help you find the MVPs and key role players who will have you hanging banners in the rafters. Because in business, it's all about having the experienced team on your side. At Robert Half, we know